The Hawaii Sports Radio Network on 95.1 FM and AM 760 presents Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani.
Good morning, beautiful people. Happy Aloha Friday. Ku'ule Agbayani alongside Kyle Galdera for the fourth and final show this week from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino. Thank you guys for tuning in the entire week, tuning in or wherever you guys are tuning in from. We appreciate all of you guys that were hanging out with us this
week. We're gearing up for the big UNLV UH football game tonight. We had UH basketball a lot last night. The result wasn't what we wanted, but at least we got to meet a bunch of friends from Vegas and those who came up from Hawaii. So it is cool to see the HSRN effect here in Vegas.
Yeah, and again, mahalo to everyone that came out to our little meetup last night, starting out at Legacy Club and then going down for the basketball game at Overhang Bar. And shout out to Aaron Oster and the Circa Resort and Casino crew for kind of setting that up for us. It was a really fun time. A bunch of Hawaii people that we just ran into and be like, yeah, no, come join the party. So it was nice, I think, for everyone to have something to do, right? This Thursday night, they didn't want to just hang out and just get together, and it was really chill aside from the actual result of the basketball game, which we will get to a little later in this show. But no, it's going to be a fun show today. We have Dom Drury that's going to join us in about 20 minutes or so as he makes his way down. It's kind of a wet one today as we kind of show you our outside of our cabana view. The steam is coming off of the pool, and we got golf on the big screen at Stadium Swim, and we got shakas out over there as well. So the weather is, hopefully it doesn't get too rainy. The good thing is we're indoors for the football game, so those of you guys that are attending need not worry that you're going to get rained on, fortunately. And boy, how far we've come since moving over from Sam Boyd Stadium, because that would have been brutal having to go to a game over there if it was rainy like this.
I remember the first time I went to a game at Sam Boyd, me and my friend Chris from Seattle came down, and we were dead set on watching the UH game. We found cheap tickets, but we didn't have a ride. And there was a chartered tour bus, and we were able to make our way on. And when they were checking wristbands, we pretended like we were sleeping, and we were able to get there. So it was a great day, but it brings back memories because it was kind of like TC Ching, maybe a little bigger and a little more permanently structured. But it gives you that TC Ching field vibes.
I do remember at Sam Boyd because the press box was actually pretty spacious. So that was the one thing I remember about that place is like when we, even in comparison to where we would set up for radio at Aloha Stadium, and then you go to Sam Boyd. Anyways, Allegiant Stadium, though, is a lot nicer. And it is the return of Micah Alihado, Jemai Otis, and a bunch of UH players. Of course, Chris Brown, Chad Kapanui, who used to coach there for a long time. So kind of the reunion of the Bishop Gorman kids coming back home and playing in Las Vegas, which is why we can anticipate a fireworks type of game. And we mentioned this throughout the week that I feel it in my soul that there is going to be, as if, I mean, Micah has that will to win and refuse to lose. We talk about it all the time where what makes this team different is that when adversity, but I feel like this game definitely, as much as we think it means a lot to us as fans and media members, I can only imagine what the players, those Las Vegas native players and Bishop Gorman kids, and of course, like I mentioned, Chris Brown and Chad Kapanui, what this game means for them and how badly they want to win, probably more than other games.
And on that note, being here in Vegas, we've gotten to understand how much this means to UNLV fans, too. Mm-hmm. Because normally UNLV football, in reality, you got the Raiders, you got all the glitz and glamour, and then, oh, by the way, UNLV has a football team as well. Their basketball team is actually more heralded, even though they're kind of on a bad swing this year. But UNLV football usually gets kind of the scraps. Mm-hmm. But it seems like this year everybody's buying in. Maybe they're front runners, but that's okay. And it'll be a nice battle between two teams on the come up. Of course, we're here in Vegas trying to vie for a spot in that Mountain West Championship. So it's going to be a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, and as it stands right now, the line hasn't really moved too much. UNLV is still the 3-point favorite over the visiting Rainbow Warriors. The total still set at 64.5. We've seen it kind of tick a little bit up and down, but so far we've seen it at 64.5. Hawaii, it's 120 on the money line. I was able to sneak in a little bit of honey. had to go for the home team a little bit. I know I always do the emotional hedge, but I just couldn't help myself. I figured, you know what, I won money on Hawaii straight up against Stanford, and why not? Just carry it over. And did go in on that over of 64.5. I rolled over some of the tickets, and that was the one thing. I couldn't cash out my ticket for the total wins. Got to wait till the end of the season, even though they already hit the 7 wins. I
Right.
got in for over 6 wins for Hawaii football, but when I went to go try to cash it, they're like, "Oh, sorry, you have to wait till the season's pal." And well, obviously they didn't say pal, but season's all done. And I'm like, man.
And I know I've talked about this a lot. That's part of the reason why I don't like usually betting futures, because it's CD at a bank or an investment. It's like that institution owns your money until basically the football season that over hits. So you kind of have to shop around. But the good news is at least you have that winning ticket for your next trip. And you know you're going to have money coming back to.
Yeah, because it's already kind of penciled into the calendar that I'll be back here in March for the Big West Conference Tournament to hopefully cheer on both teams, the men's and women's UH basketball team. So that's usually when we come back to Vegas, is to watch the tournament there, and hopefully it'll go a lot longer for the men this year.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, again, Football Friday, the kickoff time in Vegas, 7:30 p.m. at Allegiant Stadium. You guys can watch it on FM Allegiant Stadium. Again, not a lot of games played there between Hawaii and UNLV up to this point, but I can't imagine, because both teams are so good and both teams have a lot of fans that either traveled or, like for Hawaii, they have a lot of people that live here that want to support them. I can imagine this is for sure going to be the most people we've seen in Allegiant Stadium in the young time that we've been playing here.
So I think early in the week my prediction was, and this is probably on the high side, but 43,000 with about 28 to 30,000 supporting UH. So we'll wait to see the final breakdown. But what they do is they normally fill that lower bowl and then they go up from there, because it's kind of a 3-tiered stadium. And they have that huge screen up top, so if it sounds like a pro Hawaii crowd.
Yeah, and like we said, this weather should be able to go away a little bit, but we will see what happens for, we've got helicopters flying above, and it's going to be kind of like a party Friday. By the way, if you guys didn't notice, well, at the moment, because it is a little chilly, Kyle and I are wearing our, jackets, staying warm, but he does have surf shorts on, and I do have slippers on, so I've been wearing shoes all week up here, but I'm like, I'm going to want to dip my toes in, so I have slippers, and Kyle has board shorts, so we will see if he can make it in there and dip in the pool, and we can get it on the live stream towards the ending of the show.
It's happening. It's just a matter of when. We'll put it that way.
Speaking of, though, it's going to Derek
today. Plus, we have some friends that have promised that they're going to jump in as well. So if you're in the area, you're listening here in Vegas, come on down. We have basically this cabana to ourselves and what looks like now the entire pool in front of us to ourselves as well.
Yeah, so some people are planning to come. I know one was supposed to come yesterday but was under the weather and said he was going to come today, but I told him, oh, it's gloomy again, but you're wet anyways. Like Aaron Oster said, you're wet anyways. Yeah. Jump in the pool. Why not? So we'll see if, or not if, but when Kyle Galdera goes in the pool. Again, Derek Stevens, the owner and CEO of Circa Resort and Casino, along with the D and Golden Gate across the street. He is set to join us at 11:30 a.m. Vegas time, 9:30 a.m. back there. It's kind of changing the way that you can spend your time in downtown, and then kind of redid the D. I forget which hotel it was originally, but the D was the first one, and I'm like, wow, it feels like a vibe here in downtown.
Yeah.
And then Golden Gate as well. But Circa being formerly, I believe, the Las Vegas Club. When they bought it, him and his brother tore it down, built this brand new, beautiful place that we are here today, like with Stadium Swim and the largest sports book in Las Vegas with Circa Sports.
So going back to, I think, 2018 or 2019, when the Native Hawaiian Convention was here, right across the street at the plaza, I was with a lot of them are in the and turn it into a casino and make money for the Native Hawaiians.
Really?
And they're like,
there you go. So excited to chat with him. We had him on a couple of years ago when we were here and kind of heard about the story. I remember we had a listener that was a Detroit guy because Derek Stevens is originally from Detroit. And so I know, boo, Lions fan. But no, it's fun to kind of hear his story and hang out with him. So we're going to look forward to having him again in a couple of hours to kind of essentially close out the show. We'll see if we can get our friend Tim Murray from VSiN to kind of because he was originally scheduled at 11:15 and was going to close the show with us, but Derek Stevens, kind of a busy guy, so his schedule window is very tight, and I'm like, some time that Derek has, so see, and then Tim's cool. He's like, I'll just
podcast. So nice to see, people in our realm kind of rising together.
Yeah. So, and again, Dominic Drury, formerly the director of basketball operations for UH, but then now is at the Big West offices and the assistant commissioner. So he's like important.
Assistant to the regional manager?
I know, yeah. Assistant to the commissioner or assistant commissioner? Which one is it? So Dom's going to join us. We can kind of pick his brain about the ever so changing college realignment landscape as well. I know he was out watching Utah Valley basketball, I think, the other day, who is going to be a new member into the Big West. And but UC San Diego is departing the Big West for the WCC. So from the power conference level, even the G5 level, really, well, he said on the West Coast, it should remain relatively the same for a while in terms of the Pac-12 and the Mountain West, but realignment is not even close to being set because there's talks of the Super League. But again, that's for football-driven conferences, so it'll be nice to kind of hear Dom's side of things when it comes to a conference that is more focused on or does not have the football as the driver.
Right, and when you look at and talk about TV deals, NIL, investment firms, and private equity, and all those things. And back in the day, it used to just be, let's align for a better situation, more so competitively. Now it's like money, 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 and then we'll fall into place. So we'll see.
Basketball, because the University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, oh, that was a tough one. As fun as our watch party was yesterday and how great the game was going and how entertaining it was, unfortunately, it did not result in a win for the Rainbow Warriors. So as great as a lot of some of the individual players looked, when you got to win things. There's Dom. He's photobombing our thing. Just kidding. It's fine. Here, I'm going to switch it. There's Dom now. Say hi. All right, we are going to take a break, and we'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Kyle Galdera.
Live from the 9th Island on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. And streaming live on hawaiisportsradio.com.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Say hi to the camera, Kaipo. Hey, live on air.
Live
We got more of our
radio.
friends showing up. Hey, yeah, perfect. We got Kaipo in the house and Dom Drury getting set to join us on air as well. But before we welcome Dom and Kaipo makes another appearance, he did bring a bag and extra clothes. So I guess Kaipo did bring pool clothes. I jump in there. Which, fun fact, did you know Kaipo used to be so?
Now you know.
Now you know. So he is very much in tune with like the water and stuff. So that's pretty cool that he came on over, and we'll see if he gets in now. But it seems like he went to go change, and that's going to be pretty fun. So again, thank you for our friends that are coming out and hanging out on this Friday, game day for the Rainbow Warrior football team. It's getting set to take on UNLV. But last night, we were able to have our own, I guess, a game night watch party. Started off really well. Again, thank you to all of our friends that came out, the Hawaii fans and some of the people that live here in the 702. It was nice to see all of your beautiful faces and see all the local people and meet some new people and have a really good time up at Legacy Club here at Circa. Go down to the overhang bar to watch the game last night, and everybody at the Circa Sports for making that happen for everyone. And I posted on social media of having the big screen because there was like that overtime USC game, the triple overtime.
Troy and USC. Gotta love it.
What a basketball evening that we had, because at first it started with like the Hawaii game just on like the two top screens because there were other games going on, and then eventually, as it transitioned during the night, put the sound on. So Kanoa Leahy, Artie Wilson, we got to hear a little bit of them, which was pretty cool. I sent Kanoa a photo of them on the screen as well, and he's like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff was fun, except the ending of the actual
Until the last
game.
5 minutes of the game.
The Rainbow Warriors falling to Arizona State 83-76, and it's just a heartbreaker because when you're watching that game, Hawaii stayed competitive and they took a 1-point lead into the half. They very much could have won that, and I knew that we were in my soul almost celebrating too early. It was like that big fish 3-point shot, just under 8 minutes left to go in the game, and all of us were like, yeah, and then high-fiving. And as I was high-fiving everyone, in my mind too, I'm like, that's a lot of time. Something might happen. And then sure enough, it started kind of to go them right back in the game. Aaron Hunkin-Clater missed not just one, but both free throws to at least try to like extend the lead to 2 points. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. Hawaii held scoreless, I believe, for about 3 minutes after that Isaac Johnson 3-pointer. And you're just, all of us there are just watching it. And all of us had money on Hawaii to win, and it was just in a win. And that's the tough part, is when we reflect on it. It wasn't a W.
Right, and Dom can speak to this when we chat with him in a little bit, but that's basketball, especially college basketball, right? It's emotions, it's runs, and it's can you get stops at the right time, and can you not make the mistakes at the wrong time? Because Aaron Hunkin-Clater, I believe, a career high 18 points,
Yep.
but 5 turnovers, and the 3 missed. When I break it down, every turnover to me is 2 points, so that's 10 per night. So when you break it down that way, that was a big error by him to drop that rebound out of bounds, and Arizona State came back. But it also goes back to UH was up by 8, and then they settled, I think, for a corner fadeaway 3. Arizona State got in transition, hit those 2 quick threes, and the 8-point lead was down to 2. Coach Ganot called timeout. You stopped the momentum again, and Arizona State just ran away from there. So it just goes to show, like you said, I don't think we were celebrating too much because we were all so excited, but you can't get too comfortable. Sorry, we're distracted by our friend Kaipo.
I love the shorts.
But
I wish our YouTube live stream was being a bit more like working with us a little bit more, and I hope that it's showing Kaipo. But yeah,
but basically, you can't, 8-point lead, 18-point lead. It's never safe. NBA, we can see it for sure, but in college, there's a lot more emotional attachment to it, and I think we saw UH kind of fold under the pressure, and Arizona State really rose to the challenge.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Aaron Hunkin-Clater, he just had a phenomenal game. I mean, he was dishing out the ball, right? Had some good ones, and Isaac Johnson continued to do his thing with Big Fish, leading Rainbow Warriors in scoring with 23 points, and he had like that one like slam it down dunk, and it was such an exciting basketball game. And we talked about this. One of the good things about this team this year is that they do play a much more exciting style of basketball, which a lot of fans can enjoy. So that's why it was just a tough one. It's because you knew that they had what it takes to win, and I was mentioning to you before we hopped on air. It's like, it's not like they were playing like a Cooper Flag-led team last year where you're like, they're just better than us, and
right.
Okay, a loss is a loss. We'll just take it on the chin. This Hawaii team had the ability to win and could have won, and then I think that's why it's a little bit more like you said, the emotions just get to you a little more. And actually, I do want to make sure we bring in our Paul Brecht there back in studio to kind of give his take on that game, because to be honest, there was a lot going on. We were talking story a little bit with friends last night and everything, but obviously Paul was there at Banco Arena at Stan Sheriff Center to cover the game last night. So Paul, if you can just share your insights and takeaways to what you observed in last night's game.
Yeah, I mean, another disappointing loss in the final minutes, obviously reminiscent of the season opener at Oregon, and now that's two opportunities against Power 4 opponents that Hawaii has had a chance to win against and ultimately could not do. It is something that during the Rainbow Classic, I started to question where, like, okay, what about when this team needs to close down the stretch? Because the first two games were obviously 30-point blowouts, and then you get to the Utah Tech game, and I thought they did a pretty nice job. But overall, this is now twice that we've seen down the stretch where making winning plays hasn't necessarily been the consistent thing for them. Outside of that, I thought they were as good, if not better, than this Arizona State team throughout most of the night, and I'll echo your point, and that's kind of why this was so frustrating to lose. And you could hear it in Isaac Johnson's voice, in Aaron Hunkin-Clater's voice in the post-game media. You could hear it in Aron Ganot's voice in the post-game media, where this was one that they definitely look at as a lost opportunity. I don't think they would outwardly say that. I mean, maybe they would. Isaac Johnson has been pretty adamant that they should have had that Oregon game. But, this is another missed opportunity. But I'll, of course, as always, veer a little more on the positive Paul side of things.
Of course.
This is a team who showed that they can compete with P4 teams on any given night, despite being down your captain in Harry Ruliadeff, who is a key piece, right? You can say whatever you want about the talent level of Harry Ruliadeff, but a true glue guy that makes everything kind of come together, both offensively and defensively, and also somebody who allows you to get Big Fish a little bit more rest as a backup five. I thought last night Yassine Toomey really struggled in his minutes, and in this game, Hawaii really leaned on their starters. If you look at the final box, all five starters playing over 28 minutes in this one, and multiple of them playing more than 30 minutes, including Aaron Hunkin-Clater, a career-high 37 minutes and 20 seconds. Four of the five guys over 30 minutes in total. So not exactly what we've normally seen to begin this year with the depth. That's because of the injuries. Nonetheless, Hawaii still probably should have had this game.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, with Harry Ruliadeff, and I said this before the season, like Harry knowing what his role is now, I expected him to take a significant step up and be a contributor. And the games that he's been able to play, I have seen just that. Like he fits perfectly, just does his job, goes out there, he knows what his role is. And I do think that it hurt Hawaii a little bit without having him there, because he's not going to be your big fish type of player, but he goes out there and he does his job. And it was not disappointing, because you can't help it when someone's injured, obviously, but I think the game could have went a little bit more in Hawaii's favor if they did have Harry Ruliadeff in there. And
Ku'ule, just to add to your point about earlier, when you go up a team like Hawaii did last year against North Carolina, same situation. It was a pre-Maui Invitational stopover, an early trip for North Carolina. They ended up beating Hawaii by 18. Hawaii was within 7 at halftime. and then it kind of ran away. But everybody expected that because Carolina was the number 10 team in the nation at that point. Arizona State was not that. So going back to the reason a lot of people are disappointed is it wasn't, even though Arizona State's a big name from a power conference, this was a winnable game. And as we saw with the 8-point lead, they were in cruise control, and then they kind of let it go.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to welcome our first guest of today in the Aloha Friday show. You guys were familiar with Dominic Drury, used to be the director of basketball operations for the University of Hawaii men's basketball team, and now has joined the Big West, and not assistant to the commissioner, but assistant commissioner for the Big West and basketball operations and finance. So you got like the cool fancy title now.
It's a long business card there.
So we get to talk to Dom and pick his brain a little bit about the Big West Conference. As we know, and we mentioned earlier, they're going through their own conference realignment, just like how the Mountain West and everyone is doing it. But it is interesting with the Big West and not being a football-driven conference and still seeing this happen as well. So we'll be right back to welcome in Dom Drury on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
This is Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Kyle Galdera, live from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, or Waking Up in the Cabana here at Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino. We're hanging out. It's a little bit of a wetter day today, but our friend Kaipo was, I don't know, is he like jumping back and forth between pools? Because he was in the pool in front of us, and then he went on the other side, and I don't know where he is.
It's funny because he looked like a little kid. He was so excited to be in the pool, then he hopped out and ran that way. So maybe he is on the other pool, which is basically
the same thing.
Circa Swim or Stadium Swim has about 10 pools. We have 2 near us, so I think he is going back and forth here on this top level.
I love it so much that it's like cold outside. But like we said, the pools are heated. A Stadium Swim is open 365 days a year. It's the only pool in Las Vegas that is like that. Even if it's snowing, the pool will still be open here. I think the only time is like extreme weather situations, and obviously you got to close for the safety of people and your crew and all that. But other than that, it's open right away. But we want to welcome in our special guest for today, or at least this early morning, Dominic Drury, the Assistant Commissioner of the Big West and basketball operations and finance. Dom, Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Good to see you
I'm glad
guys.
we could get you out of here. I know it's just nice and cozy, one of those like you want to stay in bed, but we appreciate you for making the trek over here to join us in the cabana today.
Of course, I still have my Hawaii. I'm spoiled from Hawaii. I still get cold even even in 50-degree weather. So,
well, before we kind of get into maybe some of the stuff you do in the Big West, like just how are you doing? How was the drive in from you guys? Your wife Jessie. So how has the last couple of days been for you guys in making it out here to Las Vegas?
good. The drive is not bad from Southern California, as long as you beat the traffic going toward the Inland Empire. But it took us about 4 hours, so not too bad. Yesterday was a day, though. I woke up in Salt Lake City. I'm sure we'll talk about Utah Valley here in Oakland, Nevada. So it was step foot in 4 states.
A little triangle
4
there.
states yesterday. So it was a long
awesome.
day, but yeah, we're happy to be here.
Awesome. And so just to catch everybody up with you a little bit, as you guys know, Dom used to be with the Rainbow Warrior basketball program for a while before getting that job at the Big West as the director of champions and basketball operations back in 2023, and then recently promoted and now to assistant commissioner. And yeah, for all of the Office fans, that's why it's funny to joke. He is the actual assistant commissioner and not assistant to the commissioner for the Big West. And your title is listed here as basketball operations still and finance. So yeah, like tell us a little bit about that new promotion. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's really huge to be an assistant commissioner, because I mean, if Dan Butterly decides to go elsewhere, does that mean you get to be the commish? Like that's
Not
pretty
quite.
cool.
We still got a ways to go. Still got a ways to go there.
No, but in all seriousness, tell us a little bit about that promotion and what you do
the
now.
office, which kind of oversees the tournaments that you guys see that the Big West hosts for all of our sports. And they transitioned me over to the finance and business side, which is more appropriate for what I was kind of doing anyway. Just overseeing our basketball championship, the budget that goes into that, and then helping on the business side as much as I can with our other sports. And so yeah, it's a good transition. Not much changed really from my day to day, because like I said, basketball still takes up probably a good chunk of the day, especially this time of the year. So still doing that, but transition to the finance side of the office, which is a good new resume builder for me as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
I know a couple years ago we were hanging out with you at the Final Four in Houston, and you were still in your UH role. So between now and then, did you kind of foresee this happening, or was it something where the pieces just aligned and you've kind of adjusted to this new role as you've moved up?
A little bit of both. I never was never expected to leave Hawaii, especially as quick as it kind of happened. But it was always I thought a conference office role would be something that would fit really well for me. They're hard roles to get, especially in the basketball space. There's only 31 of them, and so. But the Big West one opened up, and that obviously is a perfect fit coming from a Big West school. So that made a lot of sense. So I applied, and everything went from there. But so yeah, I saw it. I think it's a role that fits me well, and getting back home meant a lot too. So everything worked out.
All right, so we are joined by Dominic Drury, Assistant Commissioner for the Big West in basketball operations and finance. So as you were just saying, you were checking out Utah Valley, again, going to be a conference member pretty soon. So as much as you can share about how that all came together and them being one of the newer conference members.
Yeah, they Utah Valley, it's California Baptist as well, down in Riverside and Sacramento State. So we're excited to have all three of them. They're all great fits. Utah Valley, their sport profile matches us really well. Our commissioner and presidents, when they went and toured the school, they made a joke that it's a Cal State in Utah. Very similar schools. They have over 40,000 students, which is very similar to our school size here in California. And it's a public school, and like I said, the sport profile, I think almost every one of their sports is coming to the Big West except wrestling, I believe.
Oh.
So that it fit us well. It fit in the sports that we needed to gain membership in as well. So it worked, perfect fit.
Yeah.
And they were looking for a new home too.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool because it looked like they're very big on soccer.
Yes.
That was pretty cool. If you could kind of share a little bit more about that too.
Yeah, I believe my expertise is basketball for sure. But
Yes,
I
yes.
believe their soccer, men's and women's, are nationally known. They have a brand new soccer stadium. I think they just put $60 million into a brand new soccer facility. Their women's team, I believe, made the NCAA tournament, and men's team is consistently in the top 25 in soccer. So they're excited to take a big step up coming into the Big West. We have great soccer in the Big West, especially men's soccer with UC Santa Barbara winning national championships not too long ago. So we're excited to have them in soccer, and obviously all their other sports, baseball, softball, track and field, cross country. They're very, very good in all those as well. So
yeah, and speaking of schools coming in, there's also a school departing, like just ever so quickly as they came in and now they're leaving again. And UC San Diego, which happened so fast for their transition, almost similar to like a Grand Canyon-esque, where it's like I always remind people that when I was playing at Chaminade, Grand Canyon was a school we played against in the Pac West, and now they just keep moving and moving and moving. So how have you guys, again, I know you can't give away any trade secrets or anything, but as much as you can share with our audience on how you guys have been able to kind of navigate all of that transition of everything, where you need to, and clearly we know with the University of Hawaii departing and going to the Mountain West and staying in the Big West for some sports, but yeah, how have you guys been able to just navigate all of the stresses that come with conference realignment? Because again, it's interesting to see this happen for a conference that is not driven by football.
Yeah. You have to adapt. You have to adjust to the how college athletics is going, and it took a long time for it to impact the Big West on the realignment front, but then it finally hit. Davis and Hawaii, a lot of football reasons for that, even though we're not a football conference. And then UC San Diego transitioning to the West Coast Conference. The good thing about all three is we had plenty of time to adjust. Hawaii gave us almost 2 years. UC San Diego is giving us almost 2 years. Davis probably 15 months or so. So we have time to make the adjustments needed, and July 1 is always a huge deadline each year. Because that's when you have to make a decision for the following year. So San Diego gave us their notification of departure in August, right after July 1. So we got almost 24 full months with them still in the league, and that gave us time, especially after the Hawaii and Davis departure, to look at new membership, and we got up to 12 there, and we will go back down to 11 once San Diego leaves in a couple years. But so yeah, we're very stable, and just keep on moving.
And that's the best thing, obviously, because we're friends, and I know that the University of Hawaii and the Big West has had such a good relationship, and Hawaii is doing its reasons for what it has to with football, and going over to the Mountain West. Obviously, we know there were some navigations with other conferences too, but I'm just glad that for the Big West, it seems like you guys are, ultimately doing just fine. I think that's always the worry, right, when all these conferences get picked apart. I mean, we look at the WAC that Hawaii was a part of not too long ago, it feels like, and don't know what the future is for that conference as well. So we are happy that the Big West seems to be all good.
We have 11 schools. I think we're the biggest. We're still the biggest conference on the West Coast, with the Pac-12 coming in. I think they have 10. Mountain West is right around there, and WCC and Big Sky are around that 10 number too. So we're feeling pretty good with where we're at.
I wanted to ask you, I know we're D2 fans. I played for HPU, Ku'ule played for Chaminade, and there's been talks for the last couple of years, especially during COVID, that and I know you might not be able to speak directly to this, but just in general, the Pac West was looking at the Hawaii schools as something that made it a little more difficult for the California schools in that conference, with travel and everything, kind of moving the Hawaii schools out. With the change in economics and the landscape, how much do you deal with things like that? And not necessarily Hawaii schools in particular, but just so many different factors that play into different teams and schools in your role.
Are you talking about
so basically there's so many factors that almost like once you figure something out, you have 10 more challenges.
Yes.
So how proactive do you have to be in kind of not only figuring out the now, but what to expect in the future?
Yeah, we're always looking years ahead. And if you're living in the now, you're probably a few steps behind, and so you're always looking ahead, and what is going to be the best for the conference moving forward and in the long term. And that's why these three new institutions coming in, we believe, are going to be great fits for the long term. But you're always looking at geographics, and we didn't want to be known as a bus league, which we're not, especially with Sacramento State coming in, but Utah Valley adds to that, and we made some great strides going forward in basketball. And every year is different, and from the basketball front, we're not probably as good as we were last year, but we're going in the right direction each and every year, and seeing that improvement. And so we got to keep looking long term and not just where we're at in the moment.
Yeah, as we are joined by Assistant Commissioner for the Big West and Basketball Operations and Finance, Aaron Keipel on the camera. He's going there. I love it. He's having a good old
with
time.
the Primo Hawaii shorts, too.
Those trunks, yeah.
Yeah, the trunks are pretty awesome there. Kaipo's having a good old time in the heated pool. Kind of encouraging Kyle maybe to go in there pretty soon.
It's happening.
We're going to take a break, and again, we'll continue our conversation with Dom Drury here on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Kyle Galdera. Live from the 9th Island on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. And streaming live on hawaiisportsradio.com.
I love it. There's our overlooking the pool there outside of the cabana. Ku'ule Agbayani, Kyle Galdera live from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino. And Paul Brecht holding down the fort there back home in Honolulu. But if you're watching the YouTube live stream, if it's not acting up, it's going in and out, so bear with us. But you can always listen to us online at hawaiisportsradio.com as well. And he moved out of the camera frame, but our friend Kaipo there enjoying the pool here at Stadium Swim.
It's like a wildlife show. It's like,
there he is again.
We missed the lion. Oh, there he is.
And we are hanging out and joined by Dominic Drury, the assistant commissioner at the Big West Conference, and also does basketball operations and finance. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, Dom, about some basketball. You were out there with us last night watching the Rainbow Warriors come ever so close to beating Arizona State last night and held a good lead for a nice portion of that, and then just went downhill from there. We talked about it earlier. Hawaii losing 83-76, but when it just because you're the assistant commissioner, so you're keeping track of everything. Cal Poly, though, having a nice win, a 92-85 over Utah. So let's talk some hoops, Dom. I mean, for you being the assistant commissioner, as we said, how was that for you guys to see Cal Poly, especially a Cal Poly team who just went winless for so many seasons? They bring in the new coach. They look like they were on the way up last season, right? And then now to kind of start off like this and getting a nice upset over Utah. What does that do for the conference and for you guys?
Yeah, we're so happy with Cal Poly. Like you said, they went. I think they had 3 wins just 2 seasons ago, and last year I think they had the 3rd best turnaround in college basketball from the previous year. Made the semifinals of the Big West Championship, and last year they beat Stanford, which was a great win for them, and then this year beating Utah on the road. Those are always awesome. So. They're coming home with a win against the Big 12 school. I wish we would have 2 Big 12 wins last night, but we're happy for them and their progression, turning into a turning into a really good mid-major team that no one's going to want to play here pretty soon.
So if you take your conference hat off and put your coaching hat on,
Yeah.
we've noticed a lot of upsets, and especially HPU beating Boise and some other big ones. Is that a result of NIL and so many players moving around where you don't have that early season continuity, or is it just the fact that some of the low to mid majors are just kind of playing up in the right situations?
Yeah, I mean, I think even Division II basketball and our mid-majors, they're still really good basketball players and coaches, too. We in the Big West have probably some of the most tenured coaches in the country. We have multiple coaches that have been there 10-plus years, maybe over 5, I think, which is very rare. And so you have that continuity. If our teams are able to keep their players, that's great. But like you see, every team in the country is kind of starting fresh with a new team each year. And so I think those early season knockoffs from mid-majors, Division II teams like HPU could be more common as you keep going. But, there is, I would say, more separation between the top and the middle now than there used to be. So that might make it harder also going long term. But it's great to see whenever they happen. It's awesome.
Yeah, and unfortunately, again, they didn't get 2 upsets last night, unfortunately. But prior to that, I know you keep up with the UH men's basketball team, of course, as you were part of that program for a while. But what do you think of the team that has been put together so far this year?
I think they look really good. And this is probably their best team since they made their run in 2016, I would say. Being there for 5 years and just watching. I haven't seen them in person yet, but watching on TV late at night, I think they have potential. And right now they're our highest ranked team in the metrics by far. And so that doesn't, especially now we're about a month in, that doesn't just come like out of nowhere. The metrics got some good data in there already, and for them to be, I think they were in the 80s as of last night before the game. So I'm sure they're still right around there. But that's a very good place to be. So I think they have a chance to win the Big West this year for sure. If you stay healthy. I know they were banged up a little bit last night with Harry and Isaiah being out, which didn't help. But I think they're a really good team. They're, like you said, fast-paced basketball, which is great to see, and I think the fans are enjoying it.
Yeah, and then we got the big fish chomp down there that everybody likes to do as well.
So every time I hear big fish, I think of, remember that singing bass that you mount on your wall? So maybe that could be I don't know if Captain Fun is listening or whoever from UH Marketing, but maybe a big fish, wall fish. That could be a promo item. Right? Have you ever thought of that? Every time I hear big fish, I think of, I don't know. Maybe Paul can help us look that up for the next hour. But
it's going to bother me.
Give me that fish.
Oh, no. Wait, no, that's from the Filet-O-Fish.
That's from McDonald's, right?
Believe me, I'm aware. That's where my mind
But there was
is.
a specific song, because I know what you're talking about, because there was one in my house.
Sorry to derail us,
thing.
but that every time I hear big fish, I think of that.
Oh.
And how cool would that be? Even if it's not a giveaway.
That
Was
was
it like
so funny.
Take Me to the River or something like that?
Yeah.
That sounds about right. That sounds close.
We can put that up on the Jumbotron every time, during
it's
intros.
like singing.
Yeah. He does that kind of
With the big
chomp
fish
thing.
chomp. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
We'll get on that.
Have you been able, Dom, to watch the women's team at all as well? Because
Yes.
that's the interesting thing, right, with both UH teams is that both of them had to say adieu to a lot of long-time players that they had there. That's another thing that's huge for the University of Hawaii, especially on the men's basketball side, that they get very little transfers out so far. Even, we'll see how the future holds, but I know compared to other schools, like, guys are transferring out all the time, but for Hawaii, they've been able to retain a lot of these players, except now it's like a new team, and then on the women's side as well, it's almost like a brand new team because all of their, like the 5-year seniors all had to graduate. You got to go sometime. But yeah, what do you think of this women's team so far as well?
The Wahine, they're going to be really good. I've watched every game so far. The St. Martin's, right? Or the Division II team that came in there. That was a close game. No doubt about that. But they're going to be one of the best in the Big West, like they are every year. They have some good early season wins. The Big West women's basketball is also getting really, really improving as well. UC Irvine has really come on the last few years. UC Davis is always going to be powerhouse. UC San Diego won it last year, and they're off to a good start too. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But yeah, they're looking pretty good.
Going back to the men's score, another one that we didn't mention, a game that happened yesterday, and Utah Valley beating, our favorite opponent in the Big West in the men's side in UC Irvine, 79-72. So what's the scouting report on this Utah Valley men's basketball team, or maybe lack thereof on the UC Irvine side this year?
Yeah, Grand Canyon got all the attention in the WAC, but people forget that they won the WAC regular season last year over Grand Canyon, and then Grand Canyon ended up winning the tournament and going to the NCAA tournament. But Utah Valley, just 10 years ago, they were a JUCO. Then they went up to the Division II marks, and then now Division I. So the progression that they've made over the last decade is awesome. It's incredible. And so you see the commitment that they have made to being Division I and being competitive. And that's why we're so excited to have them in the Big West, because they're just going to raise our bar. Russ Turner and Irvine have done such a good job over the last 15 years in the Big West. And so for Utah Valley to come in, and Cal Baptist beat UC Irvine last week. And so for our two new members coming in and being right up there with our top teams is great to see, and shows how much the future is for Big West men's basketball.
All right, so tab that as a win for UH over UC Irvine this year. No, just kidding.
Circle it.
Circle it. They're always the team that's circled on the calendar for UH because, yes, our favorite coach and Russ Turner.
Stomping around in his white sneakers.
I always get a kick of our friend Ben's videos he always posts on his social media. But no, always a big time game, and we'll look forward to that matchup for the University of Hawaii and UC Irvine. All right, we're going to take a break, but we are joined I was about to say in studio, but in the cabana with Dominic Drury, Assistant Commissioner for the Big West in Basketball Operations and Finance. Can you still hang out a little bit more?
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, we'll continue our conversation. If you guys have any thing you want to text in or any questions for Dom regarding the Big West or whatever it is you want to ask about, or ask Kyle or I or whatever, it's really the party vibes are here on this Aloha Friday, on this Football Friday. So text us at 808-888-KG1, 808-888-5481, or get in on the YouTube chat. Seems to be doing okay during the second segment. But we got to take a break. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Kyle Galdera. Live from the 9th Island on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. And streaming live on hawaiisportsradio.com.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, hour number 2. I'm Kule Agbayani alongside Kyle Galdera and Dominic Drury here in the Cabana, our on-the-road den here at Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino. Oh man, it's the last of our extended show hours. Again, this is from Tuesday. We've been going from 7 to 10 a.m. Hawaii time. So starting next week, Monday, we'll go back to our normal 8 to 10. But thank you to everyone who had texted me and kind of said oh, I wish you guys were doing the 7 to 10 every time. I'm like, well, I think our team is so tiny. We like to keep our sanity sometimes and not pull the clopins especially now with basketball season, and basketball games are on Thursdays, so we have late nights on Thursdays and all of that stuff to go on. But no, we appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching on YouTube. It seems like the stream is holding up for now, but either way, if it does drop out, you can listen online at Hawaii Sports Radio. Hawaii football team taking on UNLV, I guess they're the home team, but it's going to feel like Hawaii's the home team later on today.
The designated home team.
Yeah, they're the designated home team. We'll see how it's going to be the 60-40 split in Hawaii's favor tonight at Allegiant Stadium. Again, hey, there's Kaipo. Oh, we didn't get a picture of you in the pool. I mean, we get it on the live stream, but that's okay. You got to go change again now. Just kidding. But at least you're all bundled up and warm now, so that's good. No. But we are joined by Dom Drury. So, guys, Dom especially, I mean, you guys are out here. We're going to all watch the game together later on today. What are some of your predictions for the Rainbow Warrior football team? And as someone who does have, that personal affinity to UH, even though you're not working there anymore, and I know you keep up with the team as everyone does, but how does it feel to kind of see the football team finally have this turnaround and have a good season?
Oh, it's been great. My first years at UH 2018 with Rolo, and seeing those first 2 years and how they did and ended up beating BYU in the bowl game. And then, obviously there was a drop off, but seeing them back, and I saw someone from the Mountain West posted yesterday or the day before the scenarios, and just seeing that UH could be right up there even championship game is awesome to see. So I'm hoping for a win. I could definitely be a UH fan today since we don't sponsor football in the Big West, and looking forward to it. So it should be good.
I think that is the fun part, is that you can 100% even talk about it on the radio and how much you're rooting for the football team, because Big West, no football. So you can, we do know that UC Davis obviously has their football team, but the conference itself doesn't have football. So we can cheer for UH. Yes.
Yeah, I think along those lines, definitely cheering for UH, but I do think with the total still at 64.5, we're going to see something like a 38-35 either way field goal type of game. And of course, hopefully Hawaii comes out on top. But as we root for the over, you just cheer for points and you have fun either way.
Exactly. That's what we're cheering for, not Dom. Dom stays out of that part, but he'll just cheer for the team, for UH to win. But how excited. We talked about the men's basketball team being exciting, but the football team is exciting too. So have you been able to kind of watch some of the games that are, because at least on the continent, you can get it on the Mountain West app, if anything?
Yeah, we can watch it on our iPad and computer, so we try to turn it on whenever we can. So I think the road games are a little bit harder for us to capture sometimes, but we try to watch every game. We definitely watched the San Diego State game in the pouring rain the other night, or last week I should say, I guess 2 weeks ago now. 2 weeks ago. And so hopefully with this bye too coming into the UNLV game, that they're fired up and ready to go and fresh, and so we'll see.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. UH has the bye, and UNLV's basically a short week because it played Saturday. So it's kind of the best of both worlds for Hawaii when it lines up that way.
You always want to see, though, hopefully UH doesn't come out flat because they had the bye and UNLV's ready to go because they just played. You see that in basketball sometimes when the team has the bye, they actually come out a little flatter going into that game versus the team that played before. So it's always a debate.
And we see that sometimes with the Rainbow Wahine in basketball because they usually get that double bye because they're so good in the regular season that it takes them a while to get going, and by the time they do get ramped up, it can be too late.
Yeah, that is, oh man. painful memories.
It's
Kyle.
not to bring back those memories now. I know we have a fresh season ahead of us, but that just reminded me of.
But you're right.
UH does so well, and then you just have that one bad half, one bad quarter, and it can kind of all get washed away.
Yeah, and as Dom just mentioned, the scenarios, we talked about this a little bit, but just to remind everyone, yes, there are a bunch of teams, including the 3-3 in conference Utah State, that has a chance to make it into the Mountain West Championship game. We kind of tweeted about it. Michael Escaro put it out there, and then we were talking about it the other day. But yeah, Hawaii at 4-2 in conference, along with Boise State, UNLV, Fresno State, and New Mexico, all kind of clumped together there. San Diego State at the top at 5-1, and then like we mentioned, Utah State still listed as potential chance to make it into the championship game. Shout out to the Mountain West. I think they posted a graphic that kind of like said this is like the chase to the championship game as well, and getting everybody ramped up, and more like this is just such a meaningful game for Hawaii and UNLV, more than it already is tabbed as kind of like the rivalry game of the Ninth Island Showdown and all of that stuff. So it's kind of exciting, not kind of, it is exciting to look forward to such meaningful football, especially when we were thinking about it before the season started of, wow, this might actually mean something, and here we are.
It's nice that the game is so late too. This Ninth Island game. I feel like previously it's been earlier, maybe in the season, and having this come down so late, and like you said, meaning a lot is going to make it even better.
Yeah, but also just the timing of today, because I think when we were here 2 years ago, I want to say that the game was I think it was like in the middle of the day, so. Right, the game was like at 1 o'clock or something, so now it's like at that 7:30 p.m. Time here in Las Vegas. I know there's like a pre-game thing happening across the street from us at the Cal, and then I know there's one hosted by the UH alumni group at Mandalay Bay, the one that we will be at. So we just walk across the bridge to Allegiant Stadium, which makes it so convenient, and it's game day, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, is this now the third time UH is playing at Allegiant? Does that math?
Second only.
Second time? Okay.
No, third.
Third time?
Yeah.
So I think the first time there was an NFL game the next day, and I only know that because our TV broadcast booth was kind of shoved into a radio area. But the last time we were here, we were actually in the designated TV area, which is bigger than, if anybody remembers, the entire Aloha Stadium press box could fit in this one TV booth that, like, when NBC comes to town or whoever the national broadcaster is, that's where they stay. So it is kind of cool to see top level, layouts compared to what Aloha Stadium used to be.
Sorry, I'm having flashbacks to that time game over here, and there's a good contingent of Hawaii fans that we were traveling with. That I think it was maybe like 3 or 4 suites in a row that were all Hawaii fans, and by the time Hawaii didn't look that good, so everyone's just going into each other's booths, and a lot of adult beverages being, We'll see what happens this time around. But it's a national broadcast on FS1, but yeah, that just brings up memories when, I don't know if you remember half the stuff that we were
Well, I was trying to be professional and not indulge in the beverages that were being
Of
passed
course
my
not.
way, but yeah, good times. I know Larry Beal kind of bombed the studio area. That was good fun. He would come in and out. Yeah.
I was like, Dom, are you ready to get wild today?
I'm ready.
Or maybe you and Jesse might have to be babysitters. I don't know how it's gonna go.
Sometimes that's how it ends up playing out, so you never know.
Hopefully, as we've been talking about, though, it's more of a fun, we're getting, wild and crazy because Hawaii is winning. Like I said, 2 years ago, it was more of the, oh, we're all just sad and we don't want to watch this football game anymore, so let's just keep the party going. So hopefully we're going to root for a different result this time. Again, the game is a lot later, so we got to pace ourselves beforehand in the pregame party. Speaking for myself anyways, maybe Kyle.
Oh,
Dom's
definitely.
responsible. He's assistant commissioner now. You got to be responsible.
Yeah. We did a really good job last night of pacing and being responsible, so we'll carry that over till tonight.
It's funny because
I'm throwing it out there.
I was getting so frustrated with that game that your mood just changed, and I'm like, I don't even want to drink anymore.
Bedtime.
That's pretty much what happened. And then we lost Mike, and then he was in the room with a ton of food. I was really telling Kyle, I'm like, where's Mike? I don't know where he went, and he's not answering. And then sure enough, just passed out with bags of food
all around him.
Yep. That's what happened.
It's like my wedding with the tacos.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the wedding with the tacos. That was really cool. So just a little insight when Dom and Jesse got married. That was the coolest thing, though, to have, because you guys had like the normal like food dinner portion, and then afterwards you had like a taco bar. So when everyone's again engaging or indulging in some adult beverages and the dancing is going, and then you start to get kind of like that craving for a snack, and here comes the taco bar. That was genius, by the way. Who came up with that?
I got to give Jessie some credit on that one. She oversaw all the food. So.
There we go. All right, we are joined again in studio or in cabana with Dominic Drury, the assistant commissioner of the Big West in basketball operations and finance. But we do need to take a break, so we'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
This is Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Kyle Galdera, live from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Waking up in the cabana, or we've been up for a while now. Again, we've been doing an extended show this week from 7 a.m. Hawaii time, so this is hour number 2. Thank you guys for tuning in, and you can listen on demand if you missed anything. Ku'ule Agbayani, Kyle Galdera here, and Paul Brecht back in studio, and we have been hanging out and joined by Dominic Drury. Used to be a part of Director of Basketball Operations for the Rainbow Warrior basketball team, and has been now working at the Big West offices, and is the Assistant Commissioner. So Mr. Commish here, Mr. Assistant Commish, still does basketball operations and finance. But Dom, we were just chatting a little bit during that commercial break that this is your first time to this amazing property that, or outside here at Stadium Swim. Yep. And then last night we were like at Legacy Club and then at Overhang to watch the basketball game. But yeah, what do you think of this place? Isn't it pretty cool? Like, I feel like it doesn't do it justice, the videos and the photos we've been showing to people if they've never been here. But yeah, just kind of describe how awesome this place is.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I've seen probably some Instagram and TikTok photos and videos over the last several years of Stadium Swim, but I've never have actually come out and seen the pool deck. I think this would be an amazing spot to watch a game. We were just talking about on break, coming out on a 100-degree day and finding a good opportunity to sit out here and enjoy the games in the pool. But yeah, Circa's amazing. This is a great place to be, and you don't really expect it over here in downtown, and so it's awesome to see and fun place. And the game last night was the TVs they have inside is also probably the best sport book place in Vegas. Would you agree?
Oh, of course. And like I said, it was pretty cool to start seeing, and I was describing this for everybody not too long ago, with just how the two games, it started off on just two screens because there were other games going on, including that triple overtime USC basketball game that USC won because of like a wild 3-point shot that he just threw it up there and then it ended up going in, right? But I know Kyle was happy because he took Troy and was able to cover, what was it, +6 or something?
+6.5.
And
Never in doubt.
Never in doubt. The entire game. Oh, and Kyle the whole time was like, dang it, more overtime, because you just wanted the game to end.
Right, and it seems counterintuitive because when you have a team, normally you want them to win, but when you have 6.5 points to work with, I'm more than fine with USC winning in regulation, first overtime, second overtime, and when they finally walked it off in the third overtime, we could all breathe a sigh of relief. And of course I had people coming up to me, oh, are you rooting for USC? No. I think I was the only one, but it worked out.
It worked out for you. So that was like how our basketball evening started while we're trying to watch the UH game as well. And I think there was like hockey on. But eventually, because there's that late night window, and we talked about this before with the value that Hawaii brings because the game starts so late with basketball being such a popular sport and, of course, football, that brings Hawaii's value up so much. So it was pretty cool to see once the other sporting events last night were starting to end, and then they just got bigger and bigger, and then you finally had UH on, I guess you could consider it the main screen. I mean, the whole thing is a massive screen, but the biggest front and center, and then they switched the sound to the UH game, so that was pretty cool to like really take that in, because we weren't here to watch when football was on the big screen at Circus Sports, so that was really neat to see basketball front and center. Wish it was a different result,
yes,
but pretty cool nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Even just getting together with everybody was rewarding. And to everyone's point, if UH football can get the win tonight, it'll kind of make us forget about what happened last night.
Just a little bit. All right, Dom, I want to go back to talking about some of the Big West stuff. As we mentioned, you've been able to see some of the basketball teams that keep up with all of the sports, and then the new schools coming into town. We were just talking about Utah Valley, especially, and how much they've invested into athletics and been able to move up tremendously. And I know I don't want to completely put you on the spot, and I know there's only so much you can speak to this in terms of the University of Hawaii, but I don't know if you saw with the Matt Elliott and company asking for the $5 million in NIL, and for being in college athletics, like what do you take out of like everything that is going on with the NIL space? It's not every single conference, probably in Division II as well. So as someone who has been working so closely in collegiate athletics, what has that been like for you guys? I know you don't have a hand in it being that you work for the conference offices, but how have you seen college athletics like just transform within just such a short span? Yeah,
it's again, it's an adjustment that has separated the top and the bottom a little bit more than it already was, which is hard to see. We were making a joke last night in that Troy USC game. One of the players for Troy had like over 30 points, and we're like, oh well, he won't be at Troy next year, which is just the unfortunate reality of college basketball and college athletics right now in the NIL space. So we at the Big West, I mean, we lost. We had our record-breaking year last year, best year since UNLV was in the conference, winning national championships. That's how long it's been since we were the 12th ranked conference in the country last year. But we lost our entire first, second, and honorable mention teams in men's basketball.
Wow.
Not one of them came back. And so, used to you had an all-conference player, and the next year they were back on that same team, right? And that team, you can really see how the progression of that team, but you have an entire new team. Gitas Namiksha for Hawaii was our leading returning scorer in the Big West, and he's a great player. But we did have a lot of scorers that were over him that we lost in the transfer portal. So it's just the reality of college athletics, and our coaches are doing, like I said earlier, we have some great coaches in our league, veteran coaches, so they're doing a really good job at adjusting and that transitioning to the new paradigm of what we're seeing out there.
That's crazy. I didn't realize there was that many players. Wow. And then when you look at the women's side, it's a player that we talked about a lot for her freshman and sophomore year in Sumaya Sugapong at UC San Diego, and then she goes over to Arizona, right? What is going on? And then there was Miles Che is actually at UNLV now as well, which known for the punch on Ryan Rapp the last season. I was like, so when all of that happened, basketball supporters, and especially one that likes Hawaii and UNLV, he was very shocked at Miles Shea going over to UNLV now. But yeah, seeing it affect women's basketball as well, which Sugapong was such a phenomenal player for the Big West and a young player, and just see it trickle down there as well.
Yeah, women's basketball, men's basketball, I think we're over 50% of our rosters are transferring from last year across the whole NCAA. And so some teams almost every player, right? And some teams are in better shape. But, yeah, she's one that went to Arizona. I think we've had a couple other Power Four and transfers in women's basketball, and also to the Mountain West and WCC conferences that they're seeing better opportunities to go. So it's hard to see, and it's hard to keep building when you have a whole new roster each and every year, but it's the way it is now.
Well, I was going to ask with the NCAA and how you probably interact more with them now in your role than you did as a coach. Do you foresee any sort of guardrails coming into play where maybe, back in the day you'd have to sit out a year after transferring? That's gone out the window. Anything coming down the pipe that we can look forward to, or is it truly a wild, wild west as far as transfers, NIL, and so on?
There's still a lot of discussion being had, and a lot of people have different opinions on the way it should. I mean, you see some top coaches coming out and saying you should only be able to transfer, and after that, then you have some guardrails. And there's going to be quicker, and you can bring the players in and get your team established, because right now, you used to have summer access, but right now a lot of teams aren't even filled during the summertime. They're still recruiting players, and so there's been a lot of changes and a lot of things that it went heavy one way, and so it might come back a little bit in the other direction on some of these rules, but time will tell on how it goes. But I think you'll see some changes coming up here in the next little bit. But the NIL and the house settlement and roster limits and NIL caps for conferences have already come into effect, and so that hopefully will help a little bit, but we'll see. I think in the conferences too that don't sponsor football, that are really big in the basketball, such as like the Big East, A10, I believe, or maybe they have football, but FCS, those conferences are going to be able to provide more NIL money to their basketball sports and their other sports, because they don't have football, where the conferences that have football have that cap. So do the conferences that don't, but they're to be handed to the other sports. So you might see those other sports actually rise.
And I'm like, man, are they just going to put all of their NIL money into their basketball programs, and they're just going to dominate in the Mountain West in basketball? Because that's a very real thing. Because again, it's like their school, and it's good advertising for your school. You win your conference, you go into the NCAA tournament, and the rest is history. So yeah, it is interesting to see if a school doesn't have football, that they can put all of these resources into basketball.
And didn't they drop volleyball too?
They did.
So you
Men's
can
volleyball,
even more focus in on that money aspect to it.
Similar with Gonzaga to the Pac-12.
Yes.
So yeah, there'll be some again, incentive change next year or so.
All right, Dom, we don't want to take up too much of your time. We want to get you back to your wife and and then we'll see you later on this afternoon. But just share a little bit of, what is, after this weekend is over and everything, what does the next few weeks look like for you as the assistant commissioner of the Big West? I just like saying that. I'm proud. I'm like, you're my friend of mine, and that's so cool to be like assistant commissioner.
Well, non-conference is, we have some really big Thanksgiving tournaments coming up next week, and the month of December, we have those early December conference games in the Big West. One of the only conferences in the country that does that, but it allows us to play everybody twice and things like that. So we put those games in that early December period. So those are coming up right around the corner. I think we're 2 weeks away from those. So playing conference games, things change when you get to conference play. So those are intense games. So getting ready for conference play. The holidays are coming up, and then the tournament's going to be right around the corner. So that's my baby, and I spend all year on it, but especially when we hit the new year going into March, I spend a lot of my time focusing on that tournament. So that'll be coming up right around the corner.
Shoot, I lied because that just made me think of another question, a business question, because I know a lot of people, it kind of blends in our conversation with NIL and everything, and I know a lot of people were waiting for the men's basketball schedule for UH to come out. It felt like it took so long, but part of that is because these conferences have merged and they have to play everybody and fit all of these, these P4 conferences, and then you have the NIL tournaments. You had UNLV pull out of the Mount Invitational this year to play in the NIL type of tournament here. So if you can just kind of share a little bit of an insight for our listeners that, there are some frustration about like why can't UH get better opponents, or why does it take so long for the schedule to come out? So from what you see and what you have to deal with in terms of all of this conference realignment, NIL tournaments now affecting everyone. So just share a little insight to how the scheduling for basketball is just getting a little bit more difficult because of those other things going on now.
Yeah, and UH is we're having this issue across the whole conference. They are far from and they're not an outlier in this. So we have teams scheduling all the way into August, September, even October sometimes. So I know the UH fans wish the schedule came out earlier, but it's just the reality we live in. Used to be able to schedule games right when the season ended in the spring, and you can have your schedule done. If you didn't have it done by July, like things were a little bit concerning. That was pretty late. A lot of teams will be done by then. Now, with the transfer portal, all the coaches are focusing on the transfer portal at the end of the season. They're not focusing on scheduling. And so their schedules are getting done later and later and later. Each year it's later. Then it has to do with these teams means so much going into the NCAA tournament. And when you don't know, because of the transfer portal, you don't know who's on a team. It's hard to commit to playing a team when you don't know who they're going to have, right? And so I bet you, like Arizona State, for example, I don't know this for a fact, but I bet they were regretting their decision to play Hawaii last week because they probably didn't think they were going to be as good as they were. And so, they kind of ended up winning the game, so that they're probably pretty happy about that. But if you go before the game, they were probably looking like, oh, this wasn't the best idea because Hawaii's pretty good. Yeah. And so that's how it is across the country, and teams are spending a lot of time on trying to find the best games, and it's hard for these mid-major teams to get games. So you're forced to play similar and like opponents rather than playing those top opponents, especially when you're good, because they just don't want to play you anymore. And I think in Hawaii's situation, teams don't like traveling anymore either. I think they've realized like staying close to home, playing home games is best for them, and gaining wins and getting them ready for conference play. So trying to convince a team to come out to Hawaii, some people think it's so easy, like, oh, why wouldn't they want to come? It is very, especially in the basketballs, it is very difficult to convince a team to go out there. And you've seen that in the schedule over the last few years.
Yeah, and speaking of that, just like with the Maui Invitational, it seems like that's getting more and more difficult to schedule teams, which is unfortunate because at first it was like this premier tournament. Every team wanted to be invited because it really, really meant something. And now you're already losing teams to, like I said, NIL tournaments, and it just seems to be more difficult. You kind of don't have that same caliber. Like every few years, you knew you were going to get Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, all of these top teams, and now we're kind of seeing the Maui Invitational, unfortunately, fizzle out a little bit in terms of the brand name. You still get high quality basketball. I don't want that to be mistaken. Like, it's still very, very good and fun men's basketball to watch, but we know that a lot of the brand names kind of mean something to these tournaments. So yeah, how do you think like the Maui Invitational can navigate something like that and make sure it doesn't lose its luster moving forward? Yeah,
the Maui Invitational, the Diamond Head Classic, that's another great example of what Hawaii is going through scheduling. Is what the Diamond Head Classic being canceled just made scheduling for Hawaii that much harder. That's 3 games that is now taken off the Hawaii schedule that they now have to find a replacement for. So, but yeah, the Maui Invitational, it's the field like you said, every year it's just not quite as good. But that's due to the reality of college basketball, and there's a new rule this year, starting next year, that MTEs, multi-team events, are no longer – they're still multi-team events, but you don't get the benefit of what came with the multi-team event, which was the free game on your schedule. That is going away starting next year. So next year it's just 32 flat games. However you want to play 32 games is up to you. And so I think that will even make it harder for the Maui Invitational. I think there was an article that came out maybe a month or so ago that their Maui Invitational is having a difficult time for fielding the field for next year. It's only going to make it harder. Not that the Maui Invitational won't continue to get great quality teams. Did they announce the field for next year?
I don't think so.
They usually roll it out during the tournament, so probably next week we'll hear.
That's right.
But I think to your point, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Chaminade go back to being there every year.
Yep.
And maybe this might be a little out of left field, but maybe you throw HPU in there to at least basically
and
take,
UH.
Right. and why wouldn't you bring in UH? And that way you eliminate the need for 3 other teams to have to travel in.
Yeah, and you, with the 32 regular season games and no MTE requirement, teams had to go play in these MTEs in order to get their games on their schedule, right? If they didn't play in them, they couldn't get to that amount of games. They would only be capped at 29 instead of 31. But you had to play in an MTE to get to 31. So that's why an event like the Maui was intriguing to high major teams. But now that you could just play 32 games, some of those teams might just want to stay home, play home games against teams that they can win and get them ready for conference play when they have almost 20 teams in their conference, those Big Ten, SEC, ACC teams. They know they're going to get those high-quality games in conference play, so you don't necessarily need them in the non-conference anymore. It's an interesting paradigm.
Last thing for you, what if conferences got creative? So let's say, I don't know, the Big Ten, they want to avoid some of the winter weather. What if they bring part of their conference schedule to Maui and play it that way? Get creative that way. Or is that just too logistically and monetarily challenging when you could just stay in your region and kind of do what you do?
I don't know for basketball, an indoor sport. I don't know how much they will be looking at that. But I think you see it in baseball. A lot of those Midwest, East Coast baseball teams will come out to California or even go to Hawaii all the time. Hawaii baseball gets a lot of great quality teams because those teams from bad weather states, think it's great to come out to Hawaii. And so I think you'll continue seeing that in some of those outdoor sports that have bad weather. But yeah, in basketball, I don't know if they'll be. If they'll be playing conference games in Hawaii.
Well, thank you so much for that explanation for that, and I'm glad I had that question pop into my head because I know that was, a lot of people and Hawaii fans are just frustrated, and we know there's only so much they will listen to us, so it's good to hear from you in terms of what you're seeing with the change in basketball landscape and how scheduling is going to continue to be difficult, because I didn't think of it on that side. I was thinking the NIL and then the conference realignment where all of these the P4 schools with more schools in there having to schedule out all of the being able to play every single team at least once. But yeah, the transfer portal thing where that's just not a priority. The scheduling is just takes the back seat.
Takes the back seat, and those top teams always know we're going to be able to fill it later on. So they have the resources in order to just buy home games. Where the mid-major and low-major schools don't. And so it makes it harder for them, especially the teams that are really good. If you're a team that's not expected to have a good year, you can probably fill your schedule pretty fast. But if you're expected to be a decent mid-major team, it's that much harder.
Interesting. All right. We are way past the break prediction for the game today because, again, it's a football Friday here in Las Vegas. So we'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
This is Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Kyle Galdera, live from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ule Agbayani, Kyle Galdera, live from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino, and joined by Dominic Drury, the Big West Assistant Commissioner in Basketball Operations and Finance. And again, I'm sorry I lied to you in the previous segment that I wasn't going to take up too much more of your time, but now I promise, not too much more of your time. Once again, we'll get you off and back to your wife, and then we'll see you later on today for the Hawaii football UNLV game. But yeah, I just want to kind of give you the floor, my friend, and just leave our listeners and our viewers with anything you want to say to them.
Oh no, thanks for having me. I'm excited for the game today. I hope UH will come out and use the momentum they had from the San Diego State game and take it to the Rebels. So it should be fun.
Yeah, I know you can't actually bet, but are you going to cheer for the over with us?
I'll cheer for whatever you guys are cheering for. No,
I like it.
No problem there.
Jump on the bandwagon.
It feels so weird to say, right? That it's like, man, even in certain professions, like it's because it's just like everywhere. I mean, even the most conservative TV network that used to be bet all over the place, and yet there are still other professions outside of the actual athletes that it's just cannot partake in the fun that we are allowed to.
And that's funny. Getting ready for the show in the room, I was watching Get Up on ESPN, and they're talking, serious football, and then the betting guy jumps in and is like, oh, yeah, plus the 3, blah, blah, blah. It's like, wow, it just has totally changed from what it used to be.
Yeah, hopefully we can figure it out in Hawaii pretty soon. But we'll see what happens.
We'll make it happen.
Well, again, Dom, thank you so much for hanging out with us. A lot of time and spent and sharing your knowledge as the Assistant Commissioner of the Big West. And we look forward to seeing you during the basketball season. And, of course, during the tournament. We'll be back in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And we'll see you again here with the working shot clocks.
Working shot clocks.
I did think of you when that Oregon UH game and the shot clocks were going on. And I think I made a joke to our group chat. I was like, where's Dom?
Yeah, those are never fun. You never want it to happen. But I think at the Utah Valley game, there was the shot clock went out, and I almost jumped up, and I'm like, nope, not my game to fix. So it's those things just happen. But yeah, hopefully working shot clocks this year.
But again, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, we're gonna
see you guys later.
We're gonna take another break, and we'll be right back to close out hour number 2 on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Kyle Galdera. Live from the 9th Island on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. And streaming live on hawaiisportsradio.com.
I would like fries with that every single time.
Speaking of that, after our great night last night, I had the fish and chips from Saginaw's.
Ooh.
The fries were delightful.
I don't know. You gotta beat the other fries that we've been having at Victory Burger. So, again, we're broadcasting live from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino. But Circa, they do have a lot to offer in terms of the food. 24/7 is Saginaw's, the deli here. So, when you get hungry after you've been watching games, maybe putting in bets and, you know, having a little party, you can still go and get food without having to leave Circa Resort and Casino, which I greatly appreciate, that you can just go over there, get some food, a snack, or whatever you want. I think Victory Burger, not 24/7, but open late, but Victory Burger, those fries, I don't know, the fries there, I got in the last 2 days after we do the show, like on the side with my salad, and it's just, those fries are cooked to perfection.
And another note, 2 years ago we mentioned it, but in the corner on the second floor of Circa, near the high limit room, 8 East, the brisket fried rice, you got to do it.
Ooh, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, though.
So I've had it both to go and dining in. Get it dine in because you get it hot and fresh, and the bowl is actually bigger. So that's going to be my eating tip for you today.
And the prices are downtown prices, so that's another thing I don't think we've mentioned enough with Circa. It feels like you're at a hotel on the Strip in Las Vegas, but you're in the middle of downtown, and they are actually pretty true to the downtown pricing. Like, you could go at any of those restaurants, and I remember telling you this the first day we went to Victory Burger, and I remember the last time when we were here doing the shows 2 years ago, and getting, like, I think it was me, you, Daryl, and we went to go eat lunch, and the salad and the nachos and everything was huge, but then when you're looking at the menu, you're thinking like, oh, maybe the portion won't be that big because it's actually really affordable. And like the salad that I got was just $15, and it could probably feed like 3 people. It's humongous. It's like a buka portion.
Right. It comes out on one of those kind of a cookie baking sheets.
Yeah.
Same thing with the nachos I got.
Yeah. So I think that's the coolest part about Circa here. And even though the rooms, depending on the weeks, of course, and the weekend, it's relatively affordable to stay here, but you still, once again, get very much of the strip hotel type of vibes. Again, this hotel is only about 5 years old. I think it opened in 2020. And so everything still feels new. The rooms are nice and fresh. And it's just, the whole property is pretty, not to mention, of course, Stadium Swim at where we are. And if you are a hotel guest at Circa, you can access the pool for free, but if you're staying in downtown or you just want to come out, I think it's $25 to access the pool if you're not a hotel guest. But hotel guests get to take advantage of it. There's tables down there. There's a full bar down there. They have where you can, there's like a little area where you can put in your sports bets because they have the odds up here on the screen as well. So it's definitely my favorite overall property. And I am not just saying that, like, yes, we are very appreciative to Derek Stevens and the team at Circa for allowing us and giving us these accommodations and all of that stuff. But part of the reason why we enjoy coming out here and doing the shows and staying here is because I genuinely love this property so much.
I have my Maverick card in my pocket, so we do come here other than the broadcast. And for those of you who haven't been here, I think they're going to do it again next summer. But every summer from, I think, June through about September, they have a special where for 2 nights, I think it's around $400, but you get your room, you get a $100 resort credit, you get all kind of other add-ins, and at the end of the day, it almost becomes a free stay with all the perks you get. So that's a good opportunity to try it out. And who knows, maybe in the future we'll do some sort of HSRN travel package. Maybe we'll work with Circa on that. So be sure to stay tuned for something in the future.
Yeah, and they have the VSiN studios in here as well that you will be able to see if you're in the sports book. It's kind of off to the left-hand side of the sports book. VSiN you can hear on Hawaii Sports Radio Network with our 24-hour programming. And Tim Murray might pop by, but I know we have Derek Stevens who is very pressed for time. He's kind of busy, being the owner of a few hotels here in downtown and the CEO of Circa Resort and Casino. So he is set to join us at 11. Wait. 9:30. I was going to say 11:30,
Right.
but I know we have a lot of Hawaii listeners.
That's
so
true.
9:30 a.m. Hawaii time, 11:30 here on Vegas. Again, owner, CEO of Circa Resort and Casino, Derek Stevens, is scheduled to come by and join us. Hopefully, he can join us for a good 10 or 15 minutes. Once again, I know he's a very, very busy man because he pops up on the VSiN shows as well. So be sure you guys stick around for that. And if you guys do have any questions for Derek Stevens, you can go ahead and text that in already at 808-888-KG1. That's 808-888-5481. Go ahead and get them in, and don't wait till afterwards, because then Kyle and I will take all the questions to talk to Derek.
And speaking of questions or texts, I got a text from my buddy Craig, a fellow referee of mine. He and his wife are driving from California as we speak to make it in time for the game. So
Nice.
people coming from all over to check it out.
I love that. And once again, we encourage you guys, if you're staying in downtown, check out the Circa Resort and Casino, my favorite property. Definitely my favorite in downtown, but definitely top 3 of my favorite properties in Las Vegas for sure. But overall, I think Hawaii people, this is the best blend, and I can't say that enough, of the feeling like you're staying at the Strip, because of how awesome everything is here on this property, but then you still get that downtown, really good prices there where you don't, completely abuse your wallet when you just want to go, once again, get a burger or some fries or some brisket fried rice or whatnot, and then even where you can walk up to the bar and you can get like a Bud Light that's not going to cost you $15 like it does on the Strip. That was like the biggest sticker price I ever got. Like, wait, how much is the Bud Light? What are you talking about? So here you can go up to the Mega Bar, which is really cool. You can go up to the Mega Bar and still get probably, I want to say the drinks are probably cheaper than even Waikiki prices that you can get here. So it is really, really cool.
And that reminds me, back in the day when Cosmopolitan opened, they invited me. I went to a Wiz Khalifa concert. They're like, oh, free concert. I was like, cool, I'm there. I went to the bar, and the Red Bull vodka was $42. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So actually, I bought that and I nursed it all night because I'm like, no way I'm spending more than $42 for one drink. Opportunities where drinks are outrageously priced. Circa doesn't have that.
It's funny that's the hotel that you mentioned, because that's the $15 Bud Light that I went to go get was at Cosmo.
Yeah.
Beautiful property as well, and like very I love walking through there. But yes, very much Las Vegas Strip prices where you cannot get, like I said, a light beer, a 12-ounce light beer, not even like a big draft or anything, for $15. Not here at Circa though. And then you can just walk out and see the action of Fremont Street. That is probably more entertaining than the Las Vegas Strip when you go out there. They have like the neon concert going on tonight and tomorrow.
That's a good
I believe.
reminder for those in town after the game. It's a free festival, which is kind of rare in Vegas. So you come back downtown. I think there's 2 stages. So you park at one of the hotels and you can go enjoy that.
Yeah, so once again, encourage you guys, go there. They have F1 going on. They had the qualifying stuff going on yesterday. They have, I got to look up the exact schedule, but the major race for Formula One is happening tomorrow evening. So if you are in Las Vegas and staying over the weekend, just keep that in mind with the road closures. But the good thing, and we talked to Dan Rush about the back access of everything. So even for the football game tonight, I believe the Strip could be closed as well this evening for F1. But because a bunch of us are staying out in the W and Mandalay Bay, that's off from the track, and then Allegiant Stadium is right there, we won't really be affected in terms of going to the game and walking over. And maybe other people that are staying in downtown, they can kind of go around, go on the freeway, get dropped off at Allegiant Stadium. So that's what makes Vegas pretty awesome in terms of hosting multiple big events all in one time, because not only do they have all the hotel space and the convention space, but I think just the way that the roads are built, yes, as we talked about with Dan, I know it gets frustrating for a lot of the residents here. I can imagine when stuff happens back home, we get frustrated as well. But it's just the perfect city to host all of these big events, because things like that, where if you are not a resident or having to work, but if you are, there's other ways to access Allegiant or go around all of the F1 stuff. So it's pretty cool being here in Las Vegas. Really impressive. And that's why it was so good to have those chats earlier in the week with our friends from UNLV and Dan Rush at MGM to really understand like the excitement around the sports tourism that they have here, and seeing Vegas turn into the sports entertainment capital of the world essentially now.
Right. It's that fun economy, right?
Yes.
Where the disposable income, the flexible spending of those, I guess in our age range actually, as people are getting into that kind of career are spending more money, as we found out, on trips and memories rather than physical things. So as Vegas evolves, we always talk about it. Hopefully, Hawaii can get to that place to be proactive and really become that fun economy that people want to enjoy.
Yeah, bring in more sports. Get the stadium done. Oh, man, we didn't even talk about that yet.
Oh, boy.
The
Maybe we don't want to today.
Yeah,
It's
we're
been
gonna
a
keep
fun
the party
vibe. We don't want to
vibes.
bring it down.
You know, maybe that'll be a Monday conversation that we can bring up. But basically, long story short, the update on the stadium, because they had their monthly meeting yesterday, the update on the stadium is that there is no update and some of the contracts have not been signed yet. And I will leave you with that, and we will elaborate more on it on Monday, because we want to keep the party vibes going today. Keep it good. When we come back, we'll go back to talking about some UH football. We still got to maybe do our quick picks, but we'll keep the vibes high. And Derek Stevens, again, will join us at the bottom of the hour. So be sure you guys stick around for that.
I know I'm 1-0 with Houston last night on the quick picks. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, we'll be right back for our third and final hour here live from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
95.1 FM and AM 760. And streaming live on HawaiiSportsRadio.com.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, hour number 3, our last and final hour, broadcasting live from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino. Ku'ule Agbayani alongside Kyle Galdera and Paul Brecht back in studio in a couple of years, and we can bring Paul out here. So for all of you sponsors, I'm going to sponsor Paul to come out here next time. But no, it's been awesome, and I'm it's like a bittersweet moment because I'm looking forward to having football later, but I'm really sad that our time here has to end, and we got to go back home to Hawaii pretty soon. And next time you see me, we'll be broadcasting live from our nice cozy den and studio back there in Honolulu. But again, the owner and CEO of Circa Resort and Casino, Derek Stevens, is set to join us coming up at the bottom of the hour, so be sure you guys stay tuned for that. We're live on YouTube as well right now. It seems like the stream has been holding up. Like after the little morning, the stream had to wake up itself in the internet that we're using here, but for the most part, it seems like our YouTube stream has been doing pretty good. Be so thankful that he is sharing his time with us and we get to talk story with him. So hopefully our stream wants to cooperate when he gets here.
Maybe they'll juice up the internet when he gets here just to make sure.
Yeah, but thank you to Dominic Drury, Big West Assistant Commissioner and also a basketball operations and finance, formerly with the Rainbow Warrior basketball program, but he shared a lot of insight into the ever-changing landscape of college athletics and especially basketball scheduling that I know people were always irritated about with schedules coming out later and why Hawaii can't seem to nab some of these big name opponents. So if you missed any of that, you can go back and watch or listen on demand wherever you get your podcasts. But we thank all of our guests. I mean, our guests earlier that from UNLV, we had Dr. Coiner and Dr. Bernhard on Wednesday. They were very insightful. Dan Rush yesterday from MGM Resorts International. And of course, Uncle Kevin or Casey Smurthwaite that I know a lot of people enjoyed as well. Got a text that said Casey is his favorite HSRN guest. So
wow.
Shout out to Casey Smurthwaite and all of our guests and friends that came by, where I can't believe we're wrapping it up. But as I mentioned, Kyle, bittersweet moment, because the further we get into the show and when we're all pal, the closer we get to game time this evening. 7:30 p.m. is the game scheduled, Vegas time, for the Rainbow Warrior football team and UNLV Rebels Legion Stadium. So big game today. The line, UNLV is still your 3-point favorite. Are we still at 64.5, or did that move at all yet, Kyle?
Yeah, everything stayed the same. It's a 3-point spread. UNLV's favorite. Line total is at 64.5. Money line for Hawaii plus 120, for UNLV minus 140.
As I mentioned earlier, I couldn't help myself. I love that plus money, honey. I wasn't going to do it, so I only put a really teeny, tiny sprinkle, not even a full Salt Bay action, just like a little bloop that I had to put in on the Hawaii money line because they were just staring at me. And, of course, I rolled over one of my winning futures to taking more of the stress when we can, of course, Hawaii's quarterback Micah Alihado. Two guys that have been probably the top quarterbacks so far in this conference, because we've seen a lot of injuries as well. Maddox Madsen for Boise State has been dealing with some injuries, but they're going to definitely go back and forth. And I said this earlier in the show, when it comes to Micah Alihado and a handful of guys returning here to their home state in Las Vegas, along with Chris Brown being a former coach at Bishop Gorman and Chad Kapanui. They had that photo posted on their social media. I think there is just a little more want to win, right? There's a kind of like when we look back, it's an unfortunate game to look back on between Hawaii and San Jose State. But when you're looking on the San Jose State side, that game that they played against Hawaii, to want to win that game against Hawaii. And I feel like the same goes for this game with the University of Hawaii, especially players that played at Bishop Gorman and are from Las Vegas, and Micah Alihado, kind of like a dual citizenship, you can call it, between Hawaii and Las Vegas. I feel like there is a little bit more of that oomph to really want to come out with that victory over UNLV today.
Yeah, that's a good point. And in past years, might have had a losing record, and this game wouldn't have meant so much. But now that both teams are trying to make it into that Mountain West Championship game, you have all the extra juice you need, right? You have the motivational, the rivalry factor, the championship race factor, and like you said, the homecoming factor too. A lot of Vegas locals and people who've played here, grew up here, coming back home in Hawaii. So I think it'll be good fun. And knowing that such a large contingency of UH.
It was at Sam Boyd. It always felt like there was just tons of Hawaii fans. But like you were just saying, being that both teams are really good and more Hawaii people want to see this electrifying team that they've been able to potentially witness only on television so far this season. And this is an opportunity to see them in person at a beautiful stadium that is Allegiant. And to remind everybody, between this series, it's always seemed to go to the home team. UH does lead the all-time series 19-15, but UNLV holds an 11-6 advantage in games played here in Las Vegas. And we mentioned it before where prior to 2019, so 2019 was the last. Prior to that, 2007 was the last time they went in Las Vegas, where that's just what happened. So all of those factors, stuff that you said with the Mountain West Championship hunt, the homecoming, man, I'm getting chicken skin now, just hyping my own self up for what we're going to witness tonight. I hope it doesn't let us down, because my expectation of how exciting this game will be is like times infinity to the sky. And we've seen in the past, I know games aren't played on paper, but man, this is a game that deserves to be hyped.
Right, and going back to Hawaii, I think, even though we're looking for Michael Alejado to have a great game and the Hawaii passing game to really hit its stride, I really think that Cam Barfield and Sims are going to have a great game on the ground, because I think UNLV is going to be playing kind of deep on defense, playing some zone coverage, and there's going to be a lot of pukas out there. So, look, I think that's going to be the X factor for Hawaii, is getting the run game going. If you can suck that defense in of UNLV a bit, that'll give you some space to then pass it and then go deep and so on and so on. So look for a balanced attack that I think the running game can set up Michael Alejado and company to really run wild against this Rebels defense.
Someone texting in over under 2.5 fights at the game.
Oh, got to go over. I would say 9.5 should be the true line.
Are we talking
there.
about between the players or the fans?
I'm talking about fans. Players, I think they're going to be well behaved, because, and that's a great point too. I don't think the listener meant to get to this point, but I'm going to make it. You don't want to commit silly penalties, because if you do fight, not only do you cost your team 15 yards, but then you get kicked out of the game and you can't play against, in Hawaii's case, Wyoming next week. So you got to be a lot more akamai this week if you're Hawaii.
Yeah, because you need all of your players, everyone, of course, to stay healthy, because should Hawaii, or I guess on the UNLV side, whichever team comes out with the win, that will just help them moving forward and will make their games next week even more important, because both teams needing to win out to give themselves any type of chance to make it into that Mountain West Championship game. Again, if Hawaii were to lose today, their chances of making it into the Mountain West Championship game are just about all pow, but we still can look forward to the Hawaii Bowl no matter what, and we'll see who their opponent is. But we want to still hope for that Mountain West Championship berth, of course. And we've kind of talked about this throughout the last couple of weeks, that every time the game notes or the 8, 9, 10. So I'm like, this team, being that they are doing all of these things and having it be compared to those winning eras in Hawaii football, that's why the excitement and the hype for this team is so high. Now, we mentioned with UNLV, though, high-powered offense. When you look at their scoring, now this is just the stats in terms of the conference, but UNLV leading in offensive and scoring, but it is very, very close. So UNLV averaging 36.5 points per game. They lead the conference. Right behind them, Hawaii averaging 36 points per game. So just to give you guys an idea of how close that is, at third is actually Air Force. Again, this is conference games only. Looking at the stats here, Air Force at the third spot for average points per game with 33.33. But on the defensive side, now we know San Diego State has that high power defense, so they're at the top, allowing just 14.33 points per game, followed by Fresno State with 17.83 points per game. In conference only, Hawaii kind of like that middle upper part of the pack in terms of their defense, allowing 25.67 points per game. You always kind of look at it as an unfortunate thing when you look at the yardage, because at San Jose State, in terms of points allowed in conference games per game, UNLV allowing 32.83 points per game. So when we talk about, again, how just not very good that UNLV defense is, just statistically, just to paint the picture for you guys, that's what we're looking at here, where Hawaii, it's going to be a shootout, because UNLV top offense, Hawaii's defense a little bit better, but Hawaii's still having a top offense with like a not so good UNLV defense. That's why we are expecting fireworks. And over the 64.5.
And to add to that, UH has scored 30-plus points in 5 straight games, the first time the program has done that in 15 years. And over the last 5 games, UH has averaged almost 40 points, nearly 370 passing yards, and almost 480 yards of total offense. So to your point, Ku'ule, if UH can continue doing that and the defense just shows up, play an average game, Hawaii should have an easy win. The problem would be if the defense plays like it did against San Jose State and you're basically trading big play for big play, blow for blow, to use that boxing analogy. Then UH could be in trouble because UNLV, like we saw against Air Force, I think they were down 10 with a couple of minutes left, and they came back and won that game because Air Force is as bad or worse as UNLV's defense. So as long as UH's defense can show up, I think the Bows have a really good shot tonight.
Yeah, and like I said, fortunately, a lot of their guys on defense is that homecoming, some of the Las Vegas natives, right? So they're going to want to really ball out, having that that extra motivation on top of whatever was motivating, which we were just talking about with the Mountain West Championship implications and just the rivalry, but being that it is the homecoming for a good handful of these players and a few starters as well. So we're looking forward to it. Again, over 64.5, please. Just make it
Overwhelming.
Hawaii to score 55 of those points.
Wow. Okay. I'll take it.
If that's what we're celebrating. Like I said, wanting to not have the same type of party that we had 2 years ago where the game just got out of hand, where Hawaii was getting annihilated and we're just all partying because we didn't want to watch the football game anymore. We're hoping for a different time this time around in Allegiant, where the game is just so exciting in Hawaii's favor that we're just like high-fiving the entire time and getting really excited about this team.
And I believe that game helped propel Jaden Maiava to be recruited by USC, and now he's a Heisman candidate playing for USC, and they play Oregon tomorrow.
Yes.
So again, we talk about all the different layers, right, of a guy that started at Kaimukia, actually refed his last game in States, I think it was 2019 or 20, and now look at him going for the Heisman in USC. So again, these games, they have a lot of things overlapping. We mentioned all the players from Vegas, from Bishop Gorman, all the players and fans from Hawaii. A lot of cool storylines here today.
Yeah, and by the way, one of our other texters saying future bet plus 650 UH wins the Mountain West Championship. That would be pretty cool.
That's it? 650? I thought it would be more like
that's what they texted.
20 to 1. Because, I mean, well, I guess technically if UH doesn't host it, if they can get into the top 2, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
All right, we do got to take a break. In about 10 minutes or so, Derek Stevens, owner and CEO of Circa Resort and Casino, along with a couple of other hotels here in downtown Las Vegas, will join us. But we do need to take a quick break right now, and we'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Clear.
This is Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Kyle Galdera, live from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino.
Yeah. Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ule Agbayani, Kyle Galdera, waking up and woken up in Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino. Kyle putting his jacket back on, and I was just mentioning to our Paul Brecht back in studio that, it just got cold all of a sudden, and I'm glad it wasn't just me because Kyle had to put his jacket back on. I guess no jumping in the pool before Derek Stevens comes in here as Kyle had originally planned, but it got it just dropped about, I might be exaggerating saying it dropped 5 degrees, but it did get chilly all of a sudden, right? It wasn't just me, and you're putting your jacket, or you did put your jacket back on.
And I love the cold, but it is a little nippy. But I think I don't want to get all sopping wet before talking to Derek, so I think we're going to do the interview and then I'll jump in. I'm going to call an audible.
Yeah, because, we see, like we mentioned before, the Stadium Swim here is open 365 days out of the year. I don't know if it's still the only pool in Las Vegas that is open every single day. We can ask Derek that when he gets here and he can tell us a little bit more information. But yes, it is heated. Because it got colder outside, we are seeing kind of that the smoke, I guess, for lack of a better term, and the steam coming up off of the pool. So probably going to be nice and warm, but it's about when you get out that it's going to be colder. And you, like you said, you don't want to be wet and freezing when we are ready to talk to Derek Stevens. So we'll just wait for you to jump in.
Yeah, it'll be a fun time. But like we said, it's a great place to watch sports. We got, 2 basketball games going on. We got some golf. We have all the updated odds and lines. And later in the night, I think they're actually going to open that little section where they have a sports kiosk. They might have blackjack going on. So it's a fun time, especially during football season. If you come for a full NFL day of football, it's a great time here at Circa.
All right, Kyle, since we'll only have about 6 minutes or so before Derek comes in and joins us, and I don't think we'll be able to do our full quick picks, but we can talk some NFL now, getting ready for this NFL weekend, and being that we are in Las Vegas, maybe I can sprinkle a little bit on some futures bets as well for my beloved Chicago Bears, the team that is surprisingly 7-3 on the season and feels like they shouldn't be here, but here they are, and this Chicago Bears fan is more than excited about it, and I bring it up because we can talk a little bit about the NFC North when Derek joins us. Not all representation here that we're going to say, but with the Chicago Bears, I'm just waiting, and Kyle likes to rub it in that the Bears have not played the Packers yet. He's still got to play a couple of games going on the road to Green Bay first, but I am going to enjoy it while it lasts. However, I am surprised that the Bears, being that they are at home though, are the 2.5-point favorite over the visiting Pittsburgh Steelers, because Pittsburgh, they're 6-4, but they are a very, very good and scary football team.
Well, I'm going to take the Steelers in this one because Aaron Rodgers is part owner of the Bears, right? At least as far as when he was good with the Packers.
Yeah.
So I think even if Rodgers doesn't play, the Steelers will do a good job of ball control. And the Bears have won so many close games by field goal, by block
Winning
field
is
goal.
winning.
They're due
Winning
for
is winning.
to be out on the opposite end of that. I'm going to go Steelers here.
I am going to do what I usually do with that one and do the emotional hedge, of course, and we're just going to go with the Steelers no matter what, because that's what I've been doing so far, and the Bears have just been able to win. So the emotional hedge has been working in my favor so far, so we will keep riding that until it doesn't work anymore. Going into your game, Kyle, again, another divisional game in the NFC North between the Vikings and Packers. It's so weird to see that one in that third column there with the Packers having that tie early on in the season. But the Packers, though, game in Green Bay to the visiting Minnesota Vikings, and they are favored by just under a touchdown at 6.5 right here. So what is kind of your outlook for this game? I feel like the Packers need to take care of business. They have that motivation. The Vikings 4-6 on the season. They're kind of the bottom barrel now of that division, and the Packers are still being able to fight for the playoff spot, potentially fight for the division itself. So I'm going to go with the Packers to win by at least a touchdown here.
Yeah, I agree. The Packers, this is a must-win game. Their defense is going to give the Vikings fits, and the Packers need to win. And I can't believe I'm saying this, to keep pace with Detroit and the Bears, who are leading the conference right now. But must-win game for the Packers. I'm going to go Pack by, let's say, 10.
Ooh, okay, 10. I still think it's going to be close by just that touchdown. But either way, it's a cover. So that's all that matters. Speaking of one of the bigger spreads of the weekend, we can talk about this because Derek Stevens will join us a little later. And as we mentioned, he's a Lions fan, being that he is a Detroit guy, a Detroit native. And the Detroit Lions hosting the New York Giants, the Giants team that had such high hopes in the beginning of the season, and then Cam Scatterbo goes down, and then is Jackson Dart out too. There's just such high hopes for the New York Football Giants, and unfortunately, it's just not. It's turning into a typical Giant season now at this point. But Detroit, they're the home team and are a 12.5-point favorite to the Giants coming into town. I think same thing what I was talking about with Green Bay. I think Detroit still needs to take care of business. They are a really good team, well coached. I don't see how they don't win by at least a pair of touchdowns in this game.
So I'm going to go the other way. You are right. Jackson Dart officially ruled out with a concussion, which means Crab Legs, Jameis Winston will be starting for the Giants. I believe Devin Singletary is their top running back. Now that Scottaboo's out, I think the Giants will try to play ball control. The Lions should win this one easily, but that's a big number, 12.5. I think the Giants keep it within 11. So because of that, and because I can't find myself rooting for anything positive for the Lions, and of course I make sure Derek isn't here as I say that, but I'm going to take the Giants to cover this big number.
He is running a little late, so you're safe. Aaron Oster just texted me that Derek is running a little late, so be here closer to 11:40 in Vegas time, and as we mentioned, 9:40 back home at Hawaii time is when Derek Stevens, owner and CEO of Circa Resort and Casino, will join us. Once again, I mentioned he's a very busy guy, so getting the text that he'll be a little late is not surprising, and we appreciate him for any amount of time that he is able to give us today. And what a way to be able to wrap up the show with him joining us here and be able to thank him in person for all of the accommodations and the amazing staff here at Circa Resort and Casino. But continuing on with our NFL talk and the quick picks, I'm kind of just like picking and choosing some of these games out here. Oh, this is actually going to be a fun game on Sunday. The Colts and Chiefs here. The Colts that I always joke with Kyle that is Kyle's Eagles team of last year, that potentially Kyle does not believe in the Colts, and the Chiefs. I don't even know what to make of the Chiefs this year, sitting at 5-5, and the Colts are at 8-2. Game is in Kansas City though, and the Chiefs are just the 3.5-point favorite to the visiting Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to do similar to what I've been doing with the Chicago Bears and the emotional hedge. I'm kind of riding the Colts so far this season, and they haven't. I mean, they let me down once. They did let me down in one game, but for the most part, I've been going that way. So I'm going to continue it this week as well, and I'm going to go with the Colts getting plus 3.5.
So this line's a little fishy to me. Wouldn't you think that coming off a bye, the Colts would be closer to almost a pick-em? So because of that, I'm going to go Kansas City minus the 3.5. I think their defense shows up. From what I heard, Daniel Jones is kind of banged up. I think the defensive line and linebacking core will rush him throughout the game, cause them a bunch of turnovers. I think the Chiefs win this one by at least 6.
All right, one of the bigger spreads. We got to talk about this one, of course, with our Paul Brecht back there in studio with his New York Jets having to go and play the Baltimore Ravens. Again, the Jets sitting at 2-8 and the Ravens at 5-5 of the season. But the Jets almost getting 2 touchdowns there going to Baltimore. So as it stands right now, the Jets getting 13.5 going over to Baltimore. And you know what? Do I believe the Jets can go in there and win straight up? Probably not. But if you're giving me 13.5 in their favor, give me the Jets.
This is actually, and I sorry, Paul, if I'm jinxing it. The Jets might lose by 40, but this is one of my favorite plays because Tyrod Taylor coming off the scrap heap to start. I actually have him. My fantasy team is so banged up. I had Jackson Dart. I had to jettison him. Tyrod Taylor is my starter in fantasy, so I'm cheering for the Jets this week. They're going to keep it probably within 10.
Yeah. All right, Paul, we got to bring you in to kind of give your insight and prediction to the game that is featured with your team and the New York Jets and the Baltimore Ravens. What say you, my friend?
That says it all.
Yeah.
No, I agree with Kyle a bit in terms of I like Tyrod Taylor back in this game. It just came to a point for the Jets where they need to evaluate the rest of the offense with some intriguing young pieces they acquired ahead of the trade deadline. Not great pieces, but intriguing pieces nonetheless. You see this defense playing hard. It's not a talented defense, but they're playing hard for Aaron Glenn still. And I do think Tanner Engstrand is a good offensive coordinator working with, trash scraps on the offensive side for the Jets. I think that 2 touchdowns, I don't know, maybe it's the homer in me. I think they can compete to that level. I definitely think they're going to lose, though. And as a Jets fan at this point in the year, it's probably best for our future if they continue to rack up losses.
I know that feeling all too well, of course, with the Bears usually having bad seasons as well. All right, last one on here for our quick picks. Again, we're going to have to take a break, and then Derek Stevens will likely be able to join us soon after that. So we have to make sure we throw this game into the mix of our abbreviated version of quick picks for this weekend. The Browns and the Raiders. The Raiders are in town as well, hosting the Cleveland Browns at Allegiant Stadium on Sunday. Again, we'll be at Allegiant tonight for UH and UNLV, but on Sunday there is the Las Vegas Raiders hosting the Cleveland Browns. If you guys haven't seen the news yet, unfortunately, no Dylan Gabriel starting on Sunday, but Shedeur Sanders making his very first NFL start for the Browns on Sunday. Both teams just sad seasons. Both teams sitting at 2-8, but the home team in the Raiders favored by 4. So I'm like, but the Raiders are so bad. The Browns aren't that good either, but the Browns, they do still have a pretty good defense. So Browns are getting that 4, and you know what? I'm going to take it. If anything, the Raiders could potentially win by a field goal. So give me the Browns plus the 4.
So this is my second favorite play of the week. I can't believe I'm saying it, but the Browns are the better team here. The Raiders, I don't know how they can be favored by 4 points over anyone but a high school team at this point. And Geno Smith has been so bad. Myles Garrett's probably going to sack him 6 times, force 4 turnovers. I think the Browns not only cover the 4, but win this one outright. Shedeur Sanders finally gets his win, and some of the props that he's been asking for more than a year now.
Plus 165, at least on the money line here that I'm looking at BetMGM anyway. So,
and before we head to break, I just want to throw it out there. This might be a great week for underdog teasers.
Ooh.
You figure you tease the Giants, the Jets, even the Bengals, as Joe Burrow might come back. They're catching 7 points. The Browns plus 4. You could make an interesting teaser where all these teams could lose by a touchdown and you still win. Maybe we'll look into that later at Allegiant.
I like the way you're thinking there, Kyle, and I can get with it as well. All right, yes, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I think we'll be on here for a few minutes, and Derek Stevens should be able to make his way up here about like 11:40-ish or so, and then we can chat with him. So feel free to text us at 808-888-KGU1. That's 808-888-5481. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani and Kyle Galdera. Live from the 9th Island on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. And streaming live on hawaiisportsradio.com.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ule Agbayani, Kyle Goldera broadcasting live as we have been for the last few days from Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino. Again, the owner and CEO of this beautiful property, Derek Stevens, will be joining us in just a few minutes. But I'm not sure how long he can join us, and I want to make sure we can use up as much time as we have with him, and we only have about 20 minutes left on the show, so I do want to take this time before he jumps in with us to kind of do our mahalos now, just in case he can ride with us all the way to the end of the show. So want to appreciate or say aloha to everybody that has tuned in. Obviously, we were broadcasting an hour earlier than normal times from 7 a.m. We'll be back to 8 to 10 next week Monday stream. Sometimes it was like wanted to work and then not work, but either way, there's a bunch of you there as well, and I know Alex from Adelaide are one of our regular viewers all the way there in Australia tuning in. So a shout out, Alex, and thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you to our guests. As we mentioned yesterday, we had Dan Rush from MGM. We had Casey Smurthwaite. Before that, we had a couple of our UNLV guests with Dr. Coiner and Dr. Bernard sharing all of their insight, especially with sports tourism and fascinating conversations. And today we had Dominic Drury, now the assistant commissioner at the Big West Conference. So it's been a very fun and insightful last few days, and I hope a lot of our listeners were appreciating the extensive conversations and in studio or in cabana guests that we've been able to have, and I appreciate all of them for their time, because we've kept them, like most of them, for at least an hour of conversation that they were able to hang out with us. So yeah, thank you to all of our guests, and as I mentioned, as they're getting set to join us right now, perfect timing, and there is the man of the hour as we get him set right now. Hello. Perfect timing. And then there's Aaron out there. Oh, wow. We got some of the mahalos out of the way. But yes, before we kind of get started with our chat, Derek, how much time do you have to join us? We want to make sure we kind of time it perfectly for you. I know you're a very busy guy.
Got about 10-15 minutes.
Okay, perfect timing.
All right.
Awesome. Well, yes, we officially welcome in Derek Stevens, the owner and CEO of Circa Resort and Casino. Yes, that is actually for you, my friend, to take after when you leave us.
Whoa,
yeah,
love the helmet.
From Timmy Chang. But thank you again for stopping by to join us today.
Thank you. Great to see you guys.
Yeah, great to see you. Great to be back again. And I got to give all of you guys the credit, and Aaron and everyone, and even Robert with the Sportsbook for accommodating the Hawaii fans last night at Legacy Club and then at the Overhang Bar, and setting us up here in the cabana and letting us stay in your beautiful property. So thank you again so much for just the staff and everyone for treating us so well here.
Oh, that's so nice. I'll tell you what, this weekend's been circled on our calendar really all year. It's amazing to see how many people from Hawaii come to Las Vegas, on a year when the University of Hawaii plays here. And obviously what the Boyd companies do is terrific. They're throwing a party here for 1,200 people this afternoon right in our backyard, and then they're taking everyone to the game tonight. We're just excited of having a few Hawaiians staying here with us at Circa and getting their bets in and all that. This is just such a great weekend to have so many people from Hawaii come and visit Las Vegas. So it's something that really excites us all.
Yeah, and the tons of people more so looking forward to this game, because both teams are just phenomenal this season. High-powered offenses. So I've asked a lot of our Vegas guests that have joined us throughout the week, but what does it mean for you as well to see the home college team, UNLV football, be doing so well the last few years?
Well, it's obviously made a big difference for those of us in Las Vegas, because there was an era where UNLV football, it just wasn't a big deal, wasn't a big thing, but it certainly became a big thing a few years ago when they made the Mountain West Championship game and they played here at Allegiant. It brought tourism. Now with a big time coach in Dan Mullen recruiting people, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun for Vegas. It's made it an event like maybe when UNLV's here, so it's terrific. Hey, I want to go back to Hawaii for 1 second. Last night in the sports book, I was at F1 last night, and then I came back here, and it was halfway through the first half of the Hawaii basketball game. Was right? Yeah, and the amount of wagering on the Hawaii basketball game was incredible. I watched it. We had a massive wager on the first half. With 30 seconds to go, Hawaii did not have the ball, but they got the ball on a steal. Then there was a foul. It was in the bonus. They hit both free throws, and then they stopped the other side. It was unbelievable. The crowd roared, and I couldn't believe it. On an early season basketball, I go, man, this is Hawaii weekend. I love it.
And that's what it brings. I mean, that late window. Yeah, how much more does that late window for Hawaii add?
People around the country love it because, I think the one thing that's far more noticeable today than maybe it was 10 years ago or 25 years ago is the fact that we live in a far more of a 24-hour society. People work around the clock now. People, whether they work from home or they work more people work internationally. So you've got people that get up, at all times of the day, go to bed at all times of the day. If you happen to be a stockbroker or something like that in Las Vegas, well, you're at work by 6:30 in the morning, but generally you want to be there by 4 a.m. So it's a different schedule, versus if you lived on the East Coast. And I think what that's done is it creates a situation where when the University of Hawaii plays the late game, everyone gets excited about it because you have something to watch, something to root for, something to bet on, and I think it's terrific. I've actually mentioned to a handful of people, all the people that I really think Hawaii is such a unique niche that really can become a much more dominant team from a television perspective because you're the standalone game more often than any other university in the country.
Yeah, and we're joined by Derek Stevens, owner and CEO of Circa Resort and Casino.
Yeah, and every week, Derek, I look forward to watching and listening to you on VSiN talk about the odds and how Circa factors into that. We've been have the pleasure of looking at the live odds right across from us here at Stadium Swim. Hawaii has held as a 3-point dog. The total's at 64.5. Personally, I really like the over, and I'm guessing that it might tick up closer to 66, maybe even 67 when all this Hawaii money comes in today. What are you seeing as far as trends, or what is your take on the game?
Yeah, I would agree with you on the assessment. I don't see a lot of reason why you would think that Hawaii the total would go down. I don't see that with the level of money that's coming in at this point in time. And if you are of the thought that you like the over, I would recommend making of the total going up is much higher than it going down. For background, Circa opened the line at 63.5. Like you said, we're at 64.5 right now. Looking around town, the Caesars properties are at 64.5, juice to the over. Station casinos are already at a 65. Westgate's at 64.5, juice to the over. William Hill's 64.5, juice to the over. So right now, if you like the over, actually, Circa's actually a pretty good place to make the play.
Yeah.
And we were joking the other day. I put my play in a couple days ago, and it jumped from 64 to 65. So we were joking that my sharp money.
Oh, there you go. Sharp money. I love it.
So we'll see how it pans out.
I like it. Island money's respected.
yeah. I put mine in on the over last night. It didn't drop. It's at 64. So that's 64.5. So not as much as Kyle's apparent sharp money that he put in as well. As we were joined by Derek Stevens, owner and CEO of Circa Resort and Casino. Well, we got a chance to hang out with you a couple of years ago when we were first able to do the show here when Hawaii played UNLV. But we're coming up on 5 years since this property opened. So just share a little bit about how this place has grown and the popularity and more influx of people that are discovering this amazing property here in downtown Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's been a great 5 years. I mean, we opened October of 2020, and we really wanted to create a few things that were different things that you couldn't find anywhere else, not just Las Vegas, but really anywhere else in the world. So the sports book, what we call the world's largest sports book, that's been a hit. Stadium Swim, where we're at today, this is a great hit. Whether it's the summer, whether it's the winter, it's been a great place to watch sports and hang out with friends and kind of come together. And things evolve. Like for example, I'm surprised. A few years ago, it wasn't so much the case, but like Thanksgiving Day, we're going to be sold out here at stadiums that have kids that now have taken jobs all over the country, and it's kind of tough to get everybody to come home. And in many ways, Vegas is a pretty easy destination for people to come to. I think it's also a great destination for where you don't have to worry about cooking or washing dishes either. So all of a sudden, people are coming to Las Vegas, and Vegas on Thanksgiving is now a booming weekend. And because there's so much associated with Thanksgiving with football, we're a football place. It's turned into a incredible restaurant, Barry's. I just was on a text today. You know, a very, very good night. They do 500 covers. They're at 700 covers right now, and they've had to open early. So usually they open at 5 o'clock. Now they're going to open at 3. So that just kind of goes to show how Vegas evolves, how holidays evolve, and football being key has been good, and it's been good for Circus. So we're very excited about it. And the number of Hawaiians that visit is terrific. And it's frankly given my wife, I've always loved visiting Hawaii, but I was never really, like a frequent visitor. But since we met, I think I've been now 3 times in the last few years, and I've enjoyed it. I've tried different islands. I've tried different restaurants. I've tried a lot. I've really enjoyed it, and I loved all the Hawaiians that I've met here in downtown Las Vegas that have said, "Oh, when next time you come, I want to meet you for dinner, meet you for a drink." So when I've been to Honolulu, I was at the Big Island. At Maui, next thing you know, I got 20 different people that want to meet up, and it's really, really, really nice.
Most notably, though, you were just in Hawaii when the tsunami was about to come.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, that was freaky, But you talk to all the locals, they didn't really seem to care. I was out on the beach when the water, I'm like, okay, well, this is good. I'm watching my phone, so I was on, and all of a sudden started hearing about it. And what freaked me out a little bit was that when they said that this underground earthquake up in wherever, Alaska or Russia or something, they said it was the largest earthquake in the history of earthquakes.
Right.
I was like, whoa, wait a second here. I can understand blowing them off all the time, but it was the largest earthquake in the history of earthquakes. How do people know what's happening? So I'm like, okay. So we went down to the lobby, and I said, I'm going to get my rental car and get out of here. And the GM said, hey, Derek, you don't want to do that. I go, how come? He goes, no, the roads are going to be crazy. You can't really evacuate Waikiki that much. And you're in a good spot. We're going to vertically evacuate. And he said, no, maybe 50 feet. I go, well, how strong is this building? And they're like, okay, but it's not a big wave. The water just comes up. But I'll tell you what, when we were vertically evacuated, I sat on that balcony looking out over the water. That was a freaky feeling. And I'm not used to it. Right. So it's probably freakier for me. I was a mainland guy.
Well, we're glad you and everybody at home are safe after that incident, but I wanted to get back to some of the personal touches that you've put into Circa. I was watching the in-room channel the other day, and we were at the overhang bar last night, and I realized that was designed in part of your growing up at Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
And how that kind of to bring your personal experiences to now, hundreds, maybe even thousands of people who enjoy Circa.
Well, it's kind of funny, when I was a kid, I would go to Tiger Stadium. I love baseball. And Detroit, the old baseball field, Tiger Stadium, had this overhang. About 20 feet. It hung over like the warning track. And I always thought that was pretty cool. It's the only seats where you're actually in the field to play. And I kind of thought that'd be a good little touch to remember. But all these little things happened in my life, and I was just fortunate to be in different areas, and kind of always remembered a few of the big things. And never in my life did I think I was going to get to design a casino, let alone own a casino. That wasn't on my thought process going through school, going through college, or even in my first 10 years out of college. It just kind of happened, and I always thought that there's a lot of things I love doing, and when I love doing them, I usually have a lot of people around me. We all love doing them, we love coming together watching sports. We like betting on all the games. So I figured, well, as I get older, I better get a big enough screen to make sure I can watch it. So here we got a 143-foot screen at Stadium Swim. The screen downstairs of the sports book, it's the highest refresh rate, the best clarity of any screen ever, jointly designed with Daktronics. So I'm excited. I love these great screens. We want to create that feeling like you're right in the stadium. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun and bringing all these little touches. Legacy Club's a pretty good one. I'll tell you what, I put a tweet. I still call it a tweet. A post up a couple days ago.
Me too.
From Legacy Club, and it was really a nod to when I was in Hawaii this summer. There's a restaurant, and I'm sorry I'm not remembering it. It was on on the Big Island and obviously everyone knows the sunsets in Hawaii are unbelievable. So I put a post up on X, and it just reminded me of my time in Hawaii this summer and how beautiful the sunset was. And we're trying to bring a little bit of that aloha spirit to the Legacy Club here for everyone, just because it's such a beautiful environment.
Yeah, and we're wrapping up here with Derek Stevens, the owner and CEO of Circa Resort and Casino, also owner of Golden Gate and the D as well, and very busy guy. So I will just give you the floor and just anything you want to say before you leave.
Well, first off, just thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Again, another great weekend. I mean, obviously with Hawaii football, we love that. You know, we also have a music festival going on this weekend with the Neon City Festival. We just signed the contract last week for New Year's Eve, so Common Kings are playing. I know they're our New Year's Eve headliners. So down on Fremont Street. So that just got announced. So we're very excited about that. And then obviously as we get closer to playoffs and NFL football and everything like that, we just love having our visitors come visit downtown Las Vegas. So if we can do half as good as the Hawaiians do on hospitality, we're going to be in good shape in downtown Las Vegas.
We love that. All right, we're going to let you go again. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us. I do want to, this is going to be funny doing it on our live stream and radio. If Aaron Oster can get a picture of us real quick, and usually we do this all. Come on, this is a live radio. But it's Vegas. We've been preparing everyone that it's live radio. All right, we're taking our photo here.
All right. How is this? Is this?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Am I all right?
Shaka.
Yeah,
Shaka,
okay, here,
right.
get the video of the Shaka there.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. All right. All right, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Derek.
All right, good to see you. I'll see you a little bit later.
Yes.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, thank you, Aaron, and thank you, everyone here and the team at Circa Resort and Casino. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, we're going. Perfect. There we go. Derek Stevens, the owner and CEO of Circa Resort and Casino here at it's just a beautiful property. And that was what a perfect way to wrap up the show. I was like half texting Paul. We had to kind of make some changes to our commercial breaks because again, it's really rare that he can set out some time and come and join us. And I'm glad we got to talk to him for really quick and, should give him our personal thank you because it's been amazing. Again, this is the second time we've been able to come out here and do the show and broadcast live, and they get us situated with rooms here, and it was just so amazing. So what a perfect way to end off our week here in Las Vegas at Circa.
And I think one of the cool things is it's a genuine appreciation. Ku'ule and I, we talk about Circa. There's no talking points. We have no script.
Yeah.
It's basically just personal experience. Like I said, I come here. I've been here, I think, 5 times this year for a lot of work trips, and I always come to Circa. So just also spending time with Derek. What other casino owner will take time out of his busy day to chat with a couple of Hawaiians up here in Vegas? So, again, it's a great place to visit, great experience, and a nice end to a really great week.
Yeah, and once again, we just appreciate it. And you're right. And Derek is like exactly how you guys have either heard him or seen him on the live stream. That's his personality, but he is very welcoming. Like, get your mahalo ass out here.
It's Thursday night football, and of course, I'm the only Packers fan in that little group. Derek has a little VIP area where we were last night, and of course, he was making fun of the Packers fan. The Lions were winning, and I did enjoy my high noons. I'll put it that way, and the company, of course. But a great down-to-earth guy and a great Circa experience.
Yeah, and I think genuinely, and you kind of touched on it with, we mentioned he's a Detroit guy and the overhang bar and like kind of taking what he's experienced. And I do love that. And that's probably why this property feels so amazing is because he is genuinely a sports fan. So he built this specifically for that sports fan experience along with the casino. And you can still like play tables and everything, but you can tell this is about the sports fan and sports betting and everything like that. So I think that's why it's so awesome of a property is because it was designed and created by someone who is genuinely that person, and he took what he liked at different places and his experiences, and as we mentioned before, built this property from the ground up, right? The former Las Vegas club, and just made renovations to the other hotels that he owns here in downtown. But Circa, definitely something new. Man, just a few seconds left here, Kyle. I can't believe we're just about done. Again, we appreciate all of you guys that have tuned in, and mahalo once again to Derek Stevens and the team here at Circa Resort and Casino. Go Bows later on today, though.
Go Bows and a lot of points.
That is what we are ultimately cheering for. So thank you to Paul Brecht back in studio. Thank you to all our guests. We'll see you on Monday. For Kyle Galdera, I'm Ku'ule Agbayani. Mahalo for listening. Bye.